Chapter 199, You Backstabber. Chapter 199, You Backstabber. Energy erupted from Jun Lingyuan's sword and turned into a giant eagle in the air, which had wings wide enough to cover entire mountains. The flying magical beast hovered over Wanping town, while the eagle soared above them. Roar! The eagle opened its beak and breathed in. Gurgle! A strange vortex seemed to form in the giant mouth, sucking in the magical beast closest to it and the gravitational pull spreading out from there. Standing on the city wall, Jun Linyuan watched as the eagle devoured all the magical beasts. His gaze was resolute and piercing. The field beyond the city wall was empty. It was as if the magical beasts had never been there. It was incredible. Looking at Jun Linyuan, who was 3 meters away from her, Yin Yin moved a step closer, then another step, and another. Finally, she was a meter away from Jun Linyuan. They were so close that Yin Yin thought her heart was going to jump out of her mouth. This was the closest she had ever been to the Crown Prince. Looking at Jun Linyuan's wide shoulders and straight back, Yin Yin clenched her fists, then flexed her fingers. She thought nervously, should she take the opportunity to strike up a conversation with Jun Linyuan? But she felt so shy. Just as Yin Yin was writing a play for herself in her head, the sound of hooves and surprised shouts came from afar. Wait, I thought there was a wave of magical beasts. Where are the beasts? Feng Sun and Xian Yi finally arrived. Seeing the empty field, they complained, Boss Jun, the least you could do is leave a couple of beasts for us. Feng Sun had barely finished talking when, crumble, the eagle opened its beak and bones of magical beasts poured out like an avalanche. Ouch! Feng Sun and Xian Yi jumped onto the city wall right away. Seeing Feng Sun speaking with Jun Linyuan, Yin Yin was both envious and excited. She might not be able to get close to Jun Linyuan, but she knew Feng Sun well. He was her cousin on her mother's side. Cousin, Yin Yin greeted Feng Sun in a cloying voice. Feng Sun turned around and frowned. Why are you here? Yin Yin put on the prettiest smile she could manage and took Feng Sun's arm. Still in a saccharine voice, she said, Cousin, I'm heading back to the Imperial capital with Mother. Are you going that way as well? How about we travel together? If they could travel together, she would be able to hang out with the Crown Prince round the clock, which would be such an amazing opportunity. Yin Yan's thoughts were excited, and her cheeks felt very hot. Feng Sun drew back his arm and frowned. What's wrong with your voice? Yin Yin looked at Feng Sun in confusion. Feng Sun snapped. You always talk fast in a brisk voice. This affected tone is so unnatural. That cloying sound doesn't suit you at all. Speak like a normal person. Yin Yin felt like she had just been struck by a thunderbolt, and her face turned scarlet red. If she had a choice, she would throttle this cousin of hers there and then. He was such a backstabber. What was wrong with trying to show the Crown Prince her best qualities? Chapter 200, Who's Bao Air? Chapter 200, Who's Bao Air? Yin Yan's smile was so awkward that her face looked as stiff as a rock. Feng Wu chortled at Feng Sun's words. Who was that? Who's laughing? Yin Yin glared at the crowd. She immediately spotted Feng Wu, who was standing by the Essence Gathering Tower. That girl had just seen what a fool she had made of herself. Yin Yin felt all the blood rush to her head, and she was utterly humiliated. She flared up right away. Why are you laughing? Yin Yin pointed at Feng Wu. You've been an eyesore all along. Tell me your name now. Were you laughing at me? Who gave you the courage to laugh at me? The daughter of the minister on the Board of Civil Office and the Grand Council? As a matter of fact, Yin Yin hadn't found out Feng Wu's name yet. Feng Wu ignored Yin Yin. Instead, she turned her piercing gaze to Feng Sun and smirked. Young Lord Feng, it's been a while. Feng Wu's stare sent a chill down Feng Sun's spine, and his stomach lurched. After giving Feng Wu an awkward smile, he promptly turned in the opposite direction and tried to flee. With her quick hands and sharp sight, Feng Wu caught Feng Sun by the back of his collar immediately. Yin Yin watched with wide eyes. What was going on? Her cousin was the young lord of Northern Feng Mansion and the best friend of the crown prince. But this girl had grabbed him just like that. Her cousin was as much a neat freak as the crown prince was. He had pushed Yin Yin away almost immediately when she took his arm just then. How dare this girl take it by the collar? That was audacious in the extreme. Yin Yin was expecting her cousin to throw the girl over his shoulder and right over the city wall, but she watched in disbelief as Feng Sun turned around with a wry face and looked at the girl with puppy dog eyes. Feng Wu, little Feng Wu, let's talk like civilized people. A gentleman, a lady reasons things out and doesn't use violence. Could you maybe let go of me first? There was no shoulder throw, nor was there any righteous reprobation. All he did was plead for mercy. Plead? Her willful and arrogant cousin was actually pleading with Feng Wu. Wait, Feng Wu. Yin Yan's eyes widened as she stared at Feng Wu. You're Feng Wu, the genius girl that used to be as talented as His Royal Highness, who turned into a good-for-nothing. That Feng Wu. Feng Wu ignored Yin Yan. Keeping her piercing and threatening gaze on Feng Sun, she asked, Where's my brother? Feng Sun raised both hands in the air in a gesture of surrender. Xiaoqi is fine. He's absolutely safe, I swear. Nothing's going to happen to him. But he's on his way to the Imperial capital already, and you won't be able to see him for now. Feng Sun darted a pleading glance at Jun Linyuan as he spoke. He remembered that day when Boss Jun said with a frown, I hope our heir didn't get sick again while we're away. Feng Sun said right away, that could be easily solved. We can send Feng Xiaoqi back to the Imperial capital first. If Bao heir is sick, Feng Xiaoqi's blood will be able to make her a little more comfortable. Plus, with Feng Xiaoqi in the Imperial capital, Feng Wu will have to follow him there. Ha ha, I'm such a genius. Well, the genius had been caught red-handed by Feng Wu. All of a sudden, light flashed in the sky above the center of frozen forest. Demonic blood dragon. Oh God, it's really a demonic blood dragon. I saw its image in the sky just then. Feng Sun's eyes twinkled. Immortal spiritual fruit isn't the only thing we need in order to cure Bao heir. The blood of the demonic blood dragon is also on the list. Chapter 201. Do you have a guilty conscience? Chapter 201. Do you have a guilty conscience? Jun Linyuan dashed off right away. When they looked again, he had become a little black dot in the far distance. Seeing that Xian, he had also left in a hurry, Feng Sun pulled a long face and turned to Feng Wu. Feng Wu, my dearest lady, can you maybe spare me for now? I'd really love to hunt down that demonic blood dragon with them. Yin looked at Feng Sun in bewilderment. Cousin, what's wrong with you? She's not that genius anymore, and you don't have to show her any respect. Why are you so afraid of her? You could just throw her over the wall. Feng Sun gave Yin a you idiot look, then took a deep breath. Are you trying to get me killed? Yin was genuinely baffled. Feng Wu was useless now. There was no point showing her any respect at all. Why on earth was her cousin afraid of the girl so much? Feng Sun looked disconsolately at Feng Wu. Recalling the fleeting image of a dragon in the sky, Feng Wu smiled a little. Are you ashamed of yourself now? Yes, of course. Do you have a guilty conscience? Yes. Yes, I do. Do you want to repent? I do. Yin was dumbfounded. Was this man her cousin? The same arrogant young Lord Feng of the Imperial capital? She had never seen him so docile like this before. It almost took her breath away in astonishment. Yin studied Feng Wu with a mix of feelings. What was it about this girl? After Ning Chenxi was swept off his feet, Feng Sun was now hanging on her every word. Luckily, the crown prince didn't treat Feng Wu any differently, or Yin would definitely go mad. Feng Wu had no idea of all the drama in Yin-Yan's head, for all of her attention was fixed on Feng Sun. Good. Here's an opportunity for you. Take me with you to that mountain. What? Feng Sun shook his head immediately. No way. You have zero spiritual essence. All hell has broken loose in Death Valley now. Taking you there is as good as killing you. What happened to your shame? And guilty conscience? And repentance? Feng Wu stressed each word in turn. The answer is still no. I can't put you in that much danger. Feng Sun went on shaking his head. So, are you saying that you're not good enough to keep me safe? Feng Wu smiled a little. Feng Sun, I thought you were pretty tough. But as it turns out, you have no confidence in yourself at all. Feng Wu had to get on that mountain. She predicted that this calamity would cause the volcano in Death Valley to erupt. You must get that abnormal flame. Little Phoenix shrieked in the ring. That's a nether flame. I'll be able to come out after I consume it. You must get it for me. Feng Wu had to get on that mountain not for herself, but for Little Phoenix, which her master had raised for her as a pet. It needed that nether flame, and it needed it now. Otherwise, it would take forever to find another opportunity like this. Feng Sun stared at Feng Wu earnestly. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. Feng Wu kept her gaze on him. Rubbing his chin, Feng Sun was conflicted. The sensible thing to do was to refuse to take the risk, but when he looked into those beautiful eyes, he couldn't bring himself to say no. What should he do? Chapter 202, Miss Genius Doctor. Chapter 202, Miss Genius Doctor. Yin Yin kept her gaze on Feng Wu. She simply didn't understand it. She was Feng Sun's cousin, but why did she feel that her cousin was much closer to Feng Wu? Yin Yin felt so jealous. Flames of jealousy seemed to surge out of her dantian, while Yin Yin was still staring at Feng Wu and was ready to explode. An anxious voice called out all of a sudden, "Help! My lady is bleeding out." What? Feng Sun saw that it was Granny Chu, Mrs. Ning's old chambermaid, who took care of the lady's daily life and social matters. Mrs. Ning was Feng Sun's aunt on his father's side. Hearing the news, he blanched and dragged Granny Chu away like a flash of lightning. Granny Chu was vexed. She was here for that Miss Genius Doctor. She couldn't let the young master pull her away now. However, cold wind filled her mouth as soon as Granny Chu opened it. When she was stationary again, she saw that she was back in the main tent. Granny Chu was speechless. Feng Sun had run up to the bed, and he looked shaken when he saw Mrs. Ning lying in it. Auntie, Auntie, are you all right? All the color had drained from Mrs. Ning's face. She was too weak to even fully open her eyes. Feng Sun, am I hallucinating? Why am I seeing my little Feng Sun? Mrs. Ning's voice was soft and feeble. Seeing the blood-soaked bedsheets, Feng Sun was worried sick. He ran out and dragged young Master Ba, who had been standing by the door, into the tent. Get in here already. What are you doing hiding outside? He pushed young Master Ba to the bed and glared at the latter. Stop gawking. We're losing her. Just do your job. You don't want to know what will happen if you can't save her. Before young Master Ba could say anything, Granny Chu said coldly, Young Master Ba won't do. He's not good enough. We need Miss Genius Doctor. That's right. Granny Chu, didn't you go to get her just then? Where is she? Mrs. Ning's chief maid stomped her foot in vexation. Granny Chu threw a dirty look at Feng Sun. If the young master hadn't dragged her away without giving her any opportunity to speak, she would have come back with Miss Genius Doctor already. Granny Chu lifted the curtain of the tent to find Feng Wu standing outside. Miss Genius Doctor, quickly, please save my lady. Granny Chu took Feng Wu's wrist in a hurry, and her grip was very tight, as if she was afraid that Feng Wu would fly away. Feng Wu felt rather conflicted at the moment. With Feng Sun here, if she saved the day with her excellent medical skills, would Feng Sun recognize her as the ugly girl? If that happened, it would be disastrous. She recalled that Feng Sun had told her that Jun Linyuan had come all the way to the border to get the immortal spiritual fruit for Bao Er, his most precious girl. Apparently, the fruit was supposed to save her life. If Jun Linyuan and the others found out that she was the one who had stolen the fruit, which could indirectly cause Bao Er's death, Feng Wu couldn't bring herself to think what would happen. Should she take such a big risk? Just then, she heard cries inside the tent. My lady! My lady! Auntie! Wake up, Auntie! Feng Wu woke up from her reverie. Guided by her instinct as a doctor, she let Granny Chu drag her into the tent. Miss Genius Doctor is here. Miss Genius Doctor, please save my lady. Miss Genius Doctor, I'm sure you can do something about it, right? Chapter 203, Outright Humiliation. Chapter 203, Outright Humiliation. Mrs. Ning had quite a few old ladies and maids with her. Right now, they were all pleading with their eyes as they addressed her as Miss Genius Doctor. Feng Sun saw Feng Wu come in, but was too flustered to mind her now. All his attention was on young Master Ba. Do something. Are you going to save her by staring at her? Young Master Ba's face turned scarlet red. What was he supposed to do? He would only be displaying his incompetence before an expert now that Feng Wu was here. However, not only wouldn't young Lord Feng leave him alone, he was also shouting at him, asking him to treat the lady. This was so humiliating. Young Master Ba felt like crying under Feng Sun's gaze. He waved his hands repeatedly and said, I can't do it. I really can't. Feng Sun glowered. You can't do it? Is there a better doctor here in Wanping Town at the moment? Are you saying that you'll just let my aunt die? I'm going to kill you first. After that, Feng Sun drew out his blade with a clank. Young Master Ba's face was so red that he was practically bleeding from his pores. He was wrong. He admitted it. He shouldn't have been so conceited. He shouldn't have treated others so poorly. And least of all, he shouldn't have looked down on Feng Wu. Recalling the way he had treated Feng Wu, young Master Ba felt like burying his head in the ground. I can't do it, but someone else can. Young Master Ba lowered his head, ashamed. There's a medicine refiner better than you, right here. Feng Sun asked anxiously. Yes. Where? Whoosh. Young Master Ba and everyone else pointed at Feng Wu in unison. Feng Wu was standing in the middle of the room, while everyone else surrounded her and pointed at her. Feng Sun didn't know how to digest that piece of information. Feng Wu, I didn't know you were a doctor. Feng Wu's stomach churned. She was so afraid that Feng Sun would recognize her as the ugly girl, but she had no other choice now. Raising her chin, she said proudly, Why can't I be a doctor? I've been one since 5 years ago. Your information needs updating. But how can you be better than young Master Ba? Feng Sun wasn't convinced. Young Master Ba had long accepted the reality. Waving his hands, he said, She's better than me. She's so much better than me. Dr. Jiang chimed in. That's right. Miss Feng is an awesome medicine refiner, even better than my own master. If it wasn't for her, we'd have lost half of the population of Wanping Town in the disaster. But everyone survived. It was all thanks to Miss Feng. After that, Dr. Jiang briefly told Feng Sun of Feng Wu's achievements. Feng Sun's mouth fell open. Pointing at Feng Wu, he said, Her? An excellent doctor? She can't be. Feng Wu snapped. While you people spent the last 5 years cultivating, I spent all my time on medicine refinement. With my talent, why is it so hard to believe that I can achieve all this? Feng Sun immediately yielded to Feng Wu's imposing manner. He wanted to retort, but couldn't find anything to say. Feng Wu cheered for herself inwardly. This way, Feng Sun wouldn't be able to connect her to that ugly girl in Old Man Ba's refinery. There was no time to waste. Feng Wu began to examine Mrs. Ning right away. She narrowed her eyes after a thorough examination. Something is amiss here. Chapter 204. Who's the real culprit? Chapter 204. Who's the real culprit? Granny Chu asked anxiously. Miss Feng, didn't you stop the bleeding before? Why is it happening again? What's going on? Feng Wu stared back at Granny Chu. That's my question for you. I stopped the bleeding, but why have the wounds burst open again? Granny Chu was baffled. That was what she was trying to figure out as well. Mrs. Ning has been poisoned. Feng Wu smirked. Poison? Everyone looked at Feng Wu in disbelief. How is that possible? Feng Wu pricked the skin on Mrs. Ning's throat with a golden needle, and dark green blood oozed out right away. The stench and the color of that blood were proof enough. Feng Sun jumped to his feet and yelled at Granny Chu. Granny Chu, is that how you lot take care of my aunt? She was poisoned under your watch. A murderous look filled Feng Sun's eyes, and he looked terrifying. Scared out of their wits, Granny Chu and the others prostrated themselves on the ground. Granny Chu cried out, How can her ladyship be poisoned? Her blood was normal when Miss Feng delivered the babies. Feng Wu nodded. She's right. Mrs. Ning's blood was normal during labor, or the two babies would have been poisoned as well. The fact that they're fine indicates that Mrs. Ning was poisoned after the birth. Now, think carefully. Who's been in contact with Mrs. Ning during this period? Feng Wu drew out the foul blood from Mrs. Ning as she spoke. The dark green blood filled an entire bowl. Examining Mrs. Ning, who was barely breathing, Feng Wu shook her head. This won't do. Mrs. Ning already lost a lot of blood during childbirth, and after this, she has too little blood left. She'll die if we don't do something about it. What should we do then? Feng Sun's forehead was covered with sweat. Feng Wu said, I need spiritual dragon tongue grass and dark netherworld soil. No problem. I'll go get them. Feng Sun promptly turned to leave, but he realized something almost at once. Turning back, he asked Feng Wu, Do you know where I can find them? Feng Wu stared into Feng Sun's eyes. You won't find them anywhere in Wanping Town or Anping City. But I know that you can find them in Frozen Forest, and I know exactly where to find them. Moreover, Mrs. Ning only has 6 hours left. We'll need 4 hours to find those ingredients and another 2 to refine the medicine. This is the only way to save Mrs. Ning. The only way? Feng Sun gritted his teeth. The only way. Feng Wu nodded earnestly. Feng Sun took a deep breath. Fine, so be it. I'll take you to that mountain, but you have to promise me that you won't run off and will stray no more than 3 meters from me. With Feng Wu's capability, if she went into Frozen Forest while the magical beasts were running amok everywhere, she would be torn to pieces by a mere wind created by a galloping beast. Feng Wu nodded. Deal. Once that was settled, Feng Sun wasted no time. He turned to Mrs. Yin. Auntie, when I come back, I hope you'll have an answer ready for me. Feng Sun wanted to get to the bottom of it. He had to know who had poisoned Mrs. Ning. Mrs. Yin took a deep breath and looked back at him with a grim look on her face. Leave it to me. Feng Sun took Feng Wu's wrist and dashed off in the direction of Death Valley. Watching them from behind, Mrs. Yin frowned a little. Weren't those two a little too close? Chapter 205. What was Jun Lin Yuan like? Chapter 205. What was Jun Lin Yuan like? However, there was no time for that at the moment. Taking a deep breath, Mrs. Yin turned her gaze on everyone else in the tent. A hard interrogation was going to take place, and she was going to find out who poisoned her sister. Feng Wu knew nothing about that. Right now, she was headed directly for Frozen Forest. Because of the wave of magical beasts, most of the animals had run out of the mountains. As a result, the woods were awfully quiet now. Where's the spiritual dragon tongue grass? Feng Sun asked Feng Wu. And what about dark netherworld soil? Feng Wu darted him a sidelong glance and said nothing. She kept walking in one direction. Was she piqued again? Feng Sun couldn't help but poke Feng Wu's head with a finger. What now? Feng Wu snorted. My brother is in the Imperial capital now. Feng Sun was immediately seized with guilt on that subject. Eyes darting around, he tried to change the topic. Who's Bao Er? Feng Wu asked. Bao Er is... Feng Sun almost blurted it out, but he stopped himself before it was too late. Covering his mouth with both hands, he said, I'm not telling you. Why? Is it something that you're not supposed to talk about? Feng Wu kept her gaze on Feng Sun as they walked. Is she Jun Lin Yuan's younger sister? Feng Sun shook his head. Of course not. Feng Wu went on asking. Is she Jun Lin Yuan's childhood sweetheart? I don't think so. I would have heard about her if she was. After all, I've only been away for 5 years. How come I've never heard that name before? The more she thought about it, the more curious Feng Wu became. Feng Sun thought in satisfaction, I'm not telling you no matter what, ha ha ha. Although I can't tell you who she is, I can promise you that if you ever meet her, you'll like her a lot. She's so gentle and adorable that everyone who has met her loves her. Feng Sun heaved a long sigh. Please stop complaining about us taking your brother. Come to think of it, it's all that ugly girl's fault. If she hadn't stolen the fruit, we would have long gotten the antidote ready and Bao Er would be spared her suffering. If Boss Jun finds out who stole the fruit. Feng Sun narrowed his eyes and snorted. If he found out, then what? Feng Wu asked, sounding a little diffident. He'll chop her into little pieces, throw them in a frying pan, then feed them to the dogs. Feng Sun said with a ferocious look on his face. Feng Wu said, Is it really that bad? Feng Sun snorted. You have no idea what Bao Er means to Boss Jun. I'll bet you anything that Bao Er is the most important person in Boss Jun's life. Tell me now if it's really that bad. Feng Wu had wondered if Jun Linyuan had realized that she was the Feng Xiaowu who had stolen that immortal spiritual fruit. However, after Feng Sun's explanation, she was sure that Jun Linyuan definitely hadn't recognized her. What was Jun Linyuan like? He was paranoid, and he stood up for his friends to a fault. For him, there were only two kinds of people in this world, his people and everyone else. Therefore, there was no way that she could still be alive if he had recognized her. At that thought, Feng Wu shuddered. She had to make sure that she kept that secret to herself forever. Little Feng Wu, are you cold? You're shivering. Feng Sun darted a look at Feng Wu. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. She couldn't let him suspect anything. She replied immediately, I am a little. You're not cold. You're weak. Taking off his vest, Feng Sun tossed it into Feng Wu's arms and said grumpily. Chapter 206, Run. Chapter 206, Run. Are all cripples this week? I don't know what to say. Why did you insist on coming along in your condition? Feng Wu threw a dirty look at Feng Sun. She would never have shuddered if he hadn't frightened her. Since she had to drop the subject on Bao Er, Feng Wu began to look around. Seeing that Feng Wu seemed to be searching for something, Feng Sun asked curiously, What are you looking at? Feng Wu said, Something feels strange here, don't you think? Feng Sun gave it some thought. Do you mean the earthquake? Don't worry. It won't happen again so soon. Look, this is supposed to be a pond, but the water is bubbling and the fish have all rolled over. I think they're being boiled. Feng Sun realized it after Feng Wu's reminder. He hadn't noticed it until Feng Wu pointed it out, and he asked hesitantly, Could this have been caused by the earthquake? An earthquake can cause landslides and bring houses down, but have you ever heard of anything that heats up rivers and boil all the fish in it? Feng Sun steered a dead fish toward them with a twig and tried to pick it up with his hand. Ouch, that's hot. He had almost burned his hand. Looking closely, Feng Sun saw that he was indeed holding a multi-finned fish that had been thoroughly cooked. How did this happen? Feng Sun suddenly had a very bad feeling. Why do I feel like something is going to happen? Ha ha! It's a volcano. It's erupting. Inside the ring, Little Phoenix flew around in circles in great excitement. I need the first abnormal flame out of that volcano. The first one. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. Quiet. The proud little phoenix drew its neck back in at Feng Wu's intimidating voice. I need that first flame. I'll be able to get out of this ring after I consume it and help you in combat. I'm very good at it. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead again. Of course she knew that the bird was awesome, or Master Wu would never have raised it as her future mount. Just then, an ear-splitting sound came from somewhere ahead of them. Feng Wu and Feng Sun looked up involuntarily. Right ahead of them was a tall cliff, which they had planned to climb. For according to Feng Wu, that was where the spiritual dragon tongue grass grew. However, both of them blanched at that rumbling sound. What was that? They asked in unison. The boiled fish had already put them on guard. That loud rumbling sound baffled them completely. All of a sudden, Feng Wu came back to herself, and she ran to the left, dragging Feng Sun with her. They were standing there facing the cliff, and Feng Wu's first reaction was to run in a straight line away from the cliff. Feng Sun hadn't realized what was going on. What? Run! Feng Wu bellowed, sounding more anxious than ever. Feng Sun followed her command immediately, and following Feng Wu, he ran at top speed. They were a few thousand meters away from the cliff when, crumble, countless huge rocks and dust came crashing down from the cliff like an avalanche. Under their feet, the ground swayed from side to side. Chapter 207, but it's too late. Chapter 207, But it's too late. Broken rocks crashed down the cliff continuously, and they kept pushing forward once they hit the ground below. The momentum was so overwhelming. It's a landslide. Up on a big rock a short distance away, Feng Sun frowned. Why is there a landslide all of a sudden? There was no earthquake. It must be something big. Feng Wu pointed at two creatures engaged in a fight in the distance and shook her head with a wry smile. That's a demonic blood dragon over there. And if my eyes haven't failed me, the other one is a glory king tiger. Feng Sun nodded. If they keep on fighting like this, all of Frozen Forest will be turned upside down. And if they fly into the cities, the consequences will be unimaginable. Just then, there was a great rumble. A ferocious tiger the size of a two-story villa rolled all the way down from where the landslide had started. Glory King Tiger. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. The gigantic tiger stumbled down the slope and fell headfirst into a pile of loose soil, buried to the waist. Feng Sun was exhilarated. The Glory King Tiger is at the top of the food chain in Frozen Forest. Is it dead? Feng Wu grabbed Feng Sun by the wrist. Run, Feng Sun said in a hurry. The body of the Glory King Tiger is very useful. Its bones, tendons, blood, hide, every part of it is a treasure. Feng Wu nodded while urging him. I know how valuable they are. I'm a medicine refiner, and I know better than you do. Okay? But that tiger was killed by that dragon, and you can bet your ass that the dragon is going to come after it. Do you seriously think that we two weaklings can rob a demonic blood dragon of its prize? Just run. But it was too late. At that moment, an enormous shadow covered the sky above their heads. Feng Wu looked up involuntarily. The demonic blood dragon had spread out its wings, which were wide enough to cover mountains. Everywhere she looked, the light was drowned out by the shadow of those wings. Face twisted, the demonic blood dragon scanned the area with its merciless, vicious eyes. Feng Wu had goosebumps all over. It hurt a lot. Although its eyes were on the Glory King Tiger a short distance away, Feng Wu still felt a numbing pain in her chest, as if a great hand had taken hold of her heart and was squeezing it hard. Her head throbbed, her vision was blurry, and her knees buckled. Something then rushed up her throat, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. What a terrifying demonic blood dragon! One could be injured internally just by being in its vicinity. Feng Wu tried to run, but she realized that she was rendered immobile by the dragon's formidable power. Her feet seemed to be stuck to the ground. She wasn't the only one. Feng Sun was as helpless as she was. Feng Sun looked frustrated and chastened as he said in a low voice, "Great wealth always comes with enemies. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have been this greedy." Looking at the mountain under the shadow of the dragon's wings, Feng Wu gave Feng Sun a wry smile. No, we couldn't have escaped in time even if we tried. Feng Sun was going to reply when Feng Wu warned him, "Close your eyes and don't meet the dragon's gaze. Otherwise, it'll think that we're challenging it. Do that, and we'll be dead sooner than you can blink." The only thing they could do now was close their eyes and act obedient. Feng Wu sighed in resignation inwardly. She had come here to search for spiritual dragon tongue grass and dark netherworld soil, to save Mrs. Ning, as well as to get that first abnormal flame of an erupting volcano for Little Phoenix. Chapter 208. Are we going to die for real? Chapter 208. Are we going to die for real? However, she would be very lucky to even walk away alive now. Luckily, Demonic Blood Dragon didn't see Feng Wu and Feng Sun as its match. Perhaps in its eyes, the two human beings were nothing more than a couple of ants. All of a sudden, up in the air, Demonic Blood Dragon turned its sharp gaze on Glory King Tiger. The dragon's enormous body flew across the sky like a meteorite and charged down at the ground. Closer, closer. Feng Wu felt a gust of wind blowing against her face. It was as if little sharp blades were slicing her cheeks, and the pain brought tears to her eyes. When she opened her eyes, she saw Demonic Blood Dragon's gigantic claws smash down at the tiger's head. Isn't the tiger dead already? Does that Demonic Blood Dragon have a thing about abusing a corpse? That dead body is so valuable. Feng Sun said in vexation. Maybe that glory king tiger is faking it. If I were that dragon, I'd keep attacking as well, until I was sure that my enemy is dead, said Feng Wu matter-of-factly. Feng Wu had barely finished her sentence when that glory king tiger, which had stopped breathing, clenched its paws. Boom! A streak of black mist frantically shot up to wrap around demonic blood dragon. The dragon looked frightened, for as soon as that black fog surrounded it, it felt its spiritual essence being sucked out of its body at a tremendous speed. Instantly, a third of its strength was gone. Horrified, the dragon didn't dare linger. It promptly tried to fly higher. However, the tiger looked up at that moment and stared at the dragon with a cold, malicious look in its eyes. In the tiger's front paw was a black belt, which it had hooked onto demonic blood dragon. No matter how hard the dragon struggled, it couldn't break free. Hindered by that black belt, spiritual essence kept getting sucked out of demonic blood dragon. Everyone could sense the dragon's fright and fury. Feng Wu and Feng Sun watched this with their mouths open. Feng Sun said, "So, the tiger was faking it." Feng Wu nodded. "Will things turn around? That tiger is going to kill that dragon, isn't it?" Feng Sun asked involuntarily. Feng Wu said quietly, "No." "What?" "That tiger is like a spent arrow. What it's doing is squeezing out the last bit of its berserk power. It won't last much longer," Feng Wu sighed. "So, the dragon is going to win, after all?" Feng Sun asked. Feng Wu nodded. A notion struck Feng Sun at that moment, and he smacked his own forehead. "What's wrong with me? Why am I consulting you about such a difficult problem? You're a little good-for-nothing. What do you know?" Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Just then, they saw the black belt in Glory King Tiger's paw grow thinner until it dissipated completely. The tiger itself also exhausted the last bit of its strength and fell backwards with a loud thump. "Is it really dead now?" Feng Sun asked, sounding uncertain. "It's really dead. Is it going to trick the dragon again?" "No." "What?" Feng Wu said, because before it only buried its head in the soil and exposed its back. But now, it has fallen back and is lying on its back. "I see." Feng Sun saw the light suddenly. "It's the same with the azure-eyed cat I keep at home. It'll show you its belly when it feels safe around you, for the belly is the softest part of a magical beast's body, as well as its weakest point. Chapter 209, But I Don't Want to Die. Chapter 209, But I Don't Want to Die. Feng Wu nodded. "Wait, why am I asking you again? And why are you so lucky? You guessed right both times." Feng Sun scratched his head, looking baffled. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Seeing the dragon's ears twitch a little, Feng Wu gestured at Feng Sun to stop talking, or they might draw the dragon's attention. Although they were thousands of meters away from the dragon, they still weren't far enough to be safe. Staring at the dead body of Glory King Tiger, a strange smile emerged on the dragon's hideous face. It then raised its claws, which were covered in scales, and smashed down. Boom! There was a loud thump. Blood splashed out of the tiger's head. Boom! 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 The claws kept smashing down, and the ground shook violently at the impact. Once dead, the tiger had lost all its defenses, and before long, its head was smashed into a bloody pulp. It was such a gory, blood-curdling sight. Feng Wu closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Feng Sun whispered in Feng Wu's ear again. "Do you think the dragon has noticed us? We're just like two ants to it, right? It won't even bother to trample us, don't you think?" Feng Wu wanted to keep telling herself that lie as well, but she could unmistakably sense the dragon snapping its head around and shifting its murderous gaze to her. Despite being thousands of meters away, the malice in those eyes still felt like a dagger jabbing into Feng Wu's forehead. Oh God! Feng Wu sensed fear at her own imminent death. Feng Sun's knees buckled, and he gave her a wry smile. "We're spotted, and it's coming our way. It's 3,000 meters from us now. 2,000 meters. 1,000 meters. Holy shit." They had seen with their own eyes what that dragon had done to that tiger. Hence, as the dragon moved their way, Feng Wu's heart raced so badly that she thought it was going to jump out of her mouth. What to do? They couldn't even lift a finger. All they could do now was watch as the dragon moved closer and closer. Feng Sun's legs almost gave out. Are we going to die? Feng Wu said, very likely, but I don't want to die. Do I look like I do? We obviously weren't born on the same day, but I never thought that we'd die on the same one. Call it destiny. That's such a crappy destiny, Feng Wu said to Feng Sun, keeping her gaze on the dragon. That was a hard blow to Feng Sun. Am I that undesirable? I'm a young lord, for Christ's sake. Wait, don't tell me that you're still thinking about Boss Jun. Feng Wu. Wake up already. Feng Wu rolled her eyes. Since we're going to die, can you at least tell me who Bao Er is? Feng Sun stared at Feng Wu, on the alert. You keep asking about Bao Er. Why do you want to know? I'm curious. I don't buy it. Feng Wu glared at Feng Sun. Fine, fine. I guess it's too cruel to let you die without knowing. Since you want to know so badly, I'll tell you. Bao Er is. Just then, the dragon pounced at Feng Wu. It was too fast for Feng Wu to react. Feng Sun had no time to answer Feng Wu's question now. Right when the dragon was almost on Feng Wu, something got into Feng Sun, and before he knew it, he was shielding Feng Wu with his own body. Crash! He heard something very loud. Chapter 210. He's here. Chapter 210. He's here. Crash! He heard something very loud. Demonic blood dragons' sharp talons cut open Feng Sun's back. The gash was so deep that Feng Wu could see bone. Feng Wu was astonished. Catching Feng Sun before he hit the ground, she cried out, How do you feel? Stay with me. Feng Sun. She never expected that at a critical moment like this, Feng Sun would throw himself in front of her. She had been the target of that attack. Feng Sun's face contorted in pain, and he drew in his breath, frowned, and said grumpily, What's wrong with me? Why did I do that? My life is so much more valuable than yours. Have I lost my mind or what? Feng Wu was speechless. Just then, the dragon smirked, and its enormous claw smashed down at Feng Wu's and Feng Sun's heads. It came down with a strong gust of wind, and the momentum was incredible. Feng Wu and Feng Sun would never survive if they got struck by it. Their pupils contracted, their muscles went stiff, and chills ran down their spines. For a moment, their minds went completely blank. Were they going to die like this? However, Feng Sun still shielded Feng Wu with his body without hesitation and exposed his bleeding back to the dragon. Feng Wu wouldn't have it and tried to push Feng Sun away. Didn't you just say that your life is much more valuable than mine? Why are you still trying to protect me? Move. Feng Sun said grumpily. It's not like I want to do this myself, okay? But somehow his body moved faster than his mind. Feng Sun felt like slapping himself. At that critical moment, all of a sudden, an incredible sword energy struck down from above. A black-clad young figure flew through the sky like a black shooting star, and in a split second, he was in front of them. Sky Destroyer was pointed right at the dragon. Whoosh! The skin on the back of demonic blood dragon burst open and blood splashed everywhere. Roar! The dragon, who had thought that it was going to be the king of the forest after killing the tiger, twitched violently at the pain. It raised its head and howled at the sky. Rumble! Turning its enormous body around, it fixed its gaze on Jun Lin Yuan, the look in its malicious eyes murderous. Jun Lin Yuan's eyes were as cold and unruffled as a frozen lake. Their eyes met, and both made the decision to kill the other. Both tried to overpower the other with their imposing aura. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. Demonic blood dragon was unbelievably strong, although more than half of its spiritual essence was gone. As someone who could kill the king of frozen forest, the dragon was still a very tough enemy. Jun Lin Yuan, biting her lower lip, Feng Wu was worried. Feng Sun, on the other hand, had high hopes for Jun Lin Yuan. Excited, he pulled Feng Wu to her feet and shouted, Haha, Boss Jun is here. I knew I wouldn't die like this. I'm too valuable to die just yet. Seeing the fighting teenager and dragon up in the air, Feng Wu looked worried. Can Jun Linyuan defeat the dragon? Feng Sun darted a glance at Feng Wu, finding her question ridiculous. You've asked the wrong question. What you should ask is how fast can Jun Linyuan wrap it up? You trust him a lot. Of course. I have much more confidence in him than in myself. Don't worry. Feng Sun was back to his carefree self and patted Feng Wu on the shoulder. With Boss Jun here, all our problems are solved. Consider that demonic blood dragon dead already. SSSS, that hurts. Feng Sun had moved his arm too suddenly that he pulled the wound on his back. He drew in his breath and grimaced at the pain. However, Feng Wu wasn't as optimistic as Feng Sun. Chapter 211. Is Jun Linyuan going to die? Chapter 211. Is Jun Linyuan going to die? Unlike Feng Sun, Feng Wu didn't see Jun Linyuan as this omnipotent figure. Sensing the overwhelming energy in the air, she pursed her lips. All of a sudden, demonic blood dragon went berserk and flames erupted from its body. Young man, you're going to be the first to die today. The dragon snarled frantically and spread out its wings that were wide enough to cover mountains. Jun Linyuan was instantly shrouded in that shadow. Feng Wu noticed that Jun Linyuan stiffened right away. He was frozen to the spot by the dragon. He couldn't move at all. Demonic blood dragon charged at him with incredible ferocity. Feng Wu watched as the dragon's sharp claws drew closer and closer. Feng Sun thought that he was going to lose his mind. His eyes were bloodshot red, and he shivered from head to toe. Running wildly in their direction, Feng Sun tried to help Jun Linyuan. However, he was thrown back by a blast of wind before he could even get close enough. On the battlefield, spiritual essence swelled and distorted the air. An ordinary person would be torn to shreds at first contact. Was Jun Linyuan going to die? The look in Jun Linyuan's eyes was as cold as a frozen lake and as sharp as a fine sword. Boom! There came a loud sound. Demonic blood dragon's giant claw smashed down onto Jun Linyuan's shoulder. There was a loud crack. The sharp talons pierced Jun Linyuan's shoulder and blood gushed out. Feng Sun freaked out. Jun Linyuan's blood-soaked left shoulder made Feng Wu's pupils contract, and her stomach churned. She could almost feel the pain herself. However, Jun Linyuan's chiseled face and limpid eyes remained undisturbed. He looked so composed that one would think that the pierced shoulder belonged to someone else. Feng Wu couldn't help but clench her fists as she bit her lower lip. She hated herself for being this useless. If she hadn't been deprived of her cultivation back then, she wouldn't be this far behind Jun Linyuan in her cultivation level now. She would be able to fight with Jun Linyuan side by side, instead of being left behind out here. She wanted to get stronger so bad. Just as that idea popped into Feng Wu's mind, she heard a tiny buzzing sound in her head. Seriously? Surprised, Feng Wu smiled wryly. Just when she was thinking about getting stronger, her will had probably grown too powerful, and she broke into level 6 in that instant. Feng Wu didn't know that it was possible. She was rendered speechless. According to the categorization of cultivation in the Junwu Empire, one would only be admitted to the junior school after they became a level 3 spiritual master and would graduate when they reached level 6. The intermediate school was open to those who had reached level 5, and the students graduated at level 9. Only those who had reached the spiritual grandmaster stage could apply to the advanced school. There is a huge gap between level 5 and level 6, which was why many people got stuck at level 5 for ages. However, Feng Wu broke into level 6 just like that. According to Imperial College's classification, Feng Wu qualified as a student of the intermediate school now. It hadn't been half a month after she resumed her cultivation, but she had reached level 6 already. Feng Wu clenched her fists. She was confident that she would get her full potential back in no time. Right now, Demona Blood Dragon was so pleased with itself. Just when it was ready to finish Jun Linyuan off with a final blow. What happened next was quicker than words could describe. No one saw how Jun Linyuan did it, but he struck out the moment the dragon was swollen with unrestrained arrogance. Thud! Sky Destroyer plunged into the dragon's belly right up to the hilt. Chapter 212, To Feng Sun's Bewilderment. Chapter 212, To Feng Sun's Bewilderment. Demonic Blood Dragon had never expected this human to be such a schemer. Using himself as bait and at the cost of severe wound, the teenager successfully tricked the dragon into lowering its guard and slipping. As a result, the dragon didn't even see that strike coming. "You cunning human!" Demonic Blood Dragon roared. The furious bellow reverberated in the valley. At that sound, the mountain that had settled down began to shake violently again. Turning around, Demonic Blood Dragon spotted Feng Wu and Feng Sun, and was struck by a fit of anger. Those two humans had seen it in its most humiliating moment. They had to die. The dragon roared, and everything in front of it began to twist and tumble. "Run!" As the ground jolted under their feet, Jun Lin Yuan turned around and yelled at Feng Wu and Feng Sun. But it was too late. Demonic Blood Dragon raised an enormous claw and smashed down at Feng Wu and Feng Sun instead of Jun Lin Yuan. The fact that Jun Lin Yuan had survived a blow didn't mean that Feng Wu and Feng Sun could. Hence, Feng Wu's eyes were wide open as she stared at the roaring Demonic Blood Dragon, which shot out its purple scales with an explosion of energy. The purple scales showered down like arrows. The entire space between heaven and earth seemed to be filled with those scales. At that critical moment, thud, thud, Feng Wu saw Jun Lin Yuan create a black cyclone, which swept away most of the scales. However, he wasn't able to get rid of every single one of them. One scale would kill them instantly if they got hit. "Run!" Spiritual essence erupted from Jun Lin Yuan as he exerted all his formidable strength, as if he was going to raise a storm. "Run! Now!" Seeing that Feng Wu was still standing there, Feng Sun grabbed her hand and tried to drag her along. But it was still too late. Just when the purple scale was almost in Feng Wu's face, Jun Lin Yuan's Sky Destroyer arrived. It arrived with a gust of wind. The impact pushed Feng Wu and Feng Sun forward. Whoosh! Both of them stumbled forward at the blast of energy. Seeing that she was going to hit a giant rock head first, Feng Wu managed to twist around in midair with much difficulty, and she landed on her back a few meters further than where she was supposed to. That was where the dead body of that glory king tiger lay. Bang! Feng Wu plunged into the corpse head first with a loud thud. A pain ran through Feng Wu's head. Her vision went blurry, and she was dizzy. She thought she was seeing stars. Wait! Feng Wu suddenly felt something strange about the tiger beneath her. Was it not dead? Before she could figure it out, Feng Sun cried out, "Demonic Blood Dragon is coming at you! Run!" Turning around, Feng Wu saw that he was telling the truth. That giant dragon's face was meters away from her. For some unknown reason, Feng Sun was standing right next to her, but she was the only person the dragon seemed to be going after. So, she was the one whom that demonic blood dragon had been trying to kill with all the purple scales, which Jun Lin Yuan had stopped. "Just run." Feng Sun pushed Feng Wu away while drawing out Frosty, his sword, from his back. Die! Feng Sun struck at demonic blood dragon's mouth with Frosty, which smashed into the dragon's teeth with a loud clang. To Feng Sun's bewilderment, despite his outright provocation, the dragon simply brushed him aside and went on chasing Feng Wu without even stopping to look at Feng Sun. Chapter 213, The Crack of Doom. Chapter 213, The Crack of Doom. Feng Sun was utterly baffled. Why? He was a much bigger threat than Feng Wu, but why was the dragon only going after Feng Wu? Why did it ignore him? Wasn't Feng Wu a good-for-nothing? Feng Sun couldn't for the life of him figure it out. Feng Wu ran as fast as she could, sparing no effort. Cold sweat soaked her clothes, her heart was racing, and she was running out of spiritual essence. Behind her was the twisted face of demonic blood dragon, eyes shining with excitement. It pursued Feng Wu relentlessly. The dragon's sharp talons left long, deep grooves in the ground. Behind it flew Jun Lin Yuan, who was pointing his formidable sword at the dragon. Streaks of lightning crackled into being on the tip of the sword, which then shot out at the dragon's tail. Jun Linyuan struck down hard at the tail of the dragon. With each hack, blood gushed out and splashed everywhere. However, despite the excruciating pain and its mangled tail, the dragon still wouldn't give up its pursuit of Feng Wu, as if that was its sole purpose in life. Meanwhile, Feng Wu was filled with apprehension, and the pressure was something she had never felt before. With each passing second, she felt that she was going to be crushed the next moment. If it wasn't for her extraordinarily tough mind, she would have collapsed under the pressure already. However, even nature itself seemed to be working against Feng Wu, for the edge of a giant cliff suddenly cut her off. Down the precipitous cliff was a seemingly bottomless valley. Heavy fog filled the air, and she couldn't see what was down there. The look in Jun Linyuan's eyes was frighteningly cold. He dashed forward and jumped onto the dragon's head. Crushing thunderbolt, standing on its head, Jun Linyuan struck down with a mighty blow. Focusing all the energy in the tip of the sword, he jabbed it into the dragon's Lingtai acupoint. A sudden clap of thunder exploded overhead, which seemed to split the sky open. Demonic blood dragon roared with fury. The angry snarl reverberated in the sky. That wild shriek sounded like the sound of 10,000 magical beasts screaming in unison. The ear-splitting cry was capable of shaking heaven and earth. Blood gushed out from its Lingtai, and its eyes went bloodshot red. Feng Wu curled into a ball and rolled down the slope of the cliff along with the falling stones. Seeing this, Feng Sun yelled with furious red eyes, "Feng Wu, no!" However, Feng Wu disappeared in the blink of an eye with the rest of the falling stones. Feng Sun felt a stabbing pain in his chest, and something snapped in his head. By now, Demonic Blood Dragon finally recognized the fact that it wasn't Jun Linyuan's match. After that scream, it promptly turned around to flee. Don't even think about it. Jun Linyuan exerted all his formidable power. It surrounded the dragon like a dome made of the energy of thunder. Thump, thump, thump. Spiritual essence whistled. Energy surged. The space between heaven and earth distorted. It was the crack of doom. The world seemed to tear into pieces as one watched. This fight between two supreme beings was beyond anything that could be described by language alone. While Jun Linyuan was engaged in fierce battle with Demonic Blood Dragon, Feng Sun dashed down the cliff, crying out, "Feng Wu! Feng Wu! Where are you? I swear I'm going to kill that dragon if you're dead. But I don't want you to die, so please answer me." Feng Wu rolled her eyes at Feng Sun's voice. As a matter of fact, Feng Wu hadn't been pushed off the cliff by the dragon. She had jumped down of her own volition. She wasn't suicidal or anything. She had done it because Little Phoenix had just told her that the core of the erupting volcano was right under this cliff. Chapter 214, Don't Go. Chapter 214, Don't Go. That was to say, the abnormal flame that could set Little Phoenix free was right under this cliff. It also meant that this active volcano was going to erupt. What Feng Wu needed to do now was obtain that flame before the eruption happened. Time was of the essence, and she couldn't afford to waste even one single second. For no one knew when the active volcano would explode. Hence, without hesitation, Feng Wu stepped onto a giant rock and rolled down the slope with it. Luckily, Feng Wu was light and nimble and had quick reflexes. Even standing on a rolling stone, she was able to keep her footing without falling off. However, Feng Sun knew none of that. Rushing down the slope, he shouted Feng Wu's name in all directions, sounding desperate. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. She realized that if she didn't get Feng Sun out of here now, when the volcano exploded, there wouldn't be enough left of Feng Sun to be called Feng Sun. Feng Sun spotted her before Feng Wu could say anything. "Feng Wu, little Feng Wu, there you are. I saw you fall off the cliff. Are you hurt? Or do you feel unwell? Do you hurt anywhere at all? You're alive. I thought you were dead. You naughty thing. You should have answered my call." Feng Sun turned into a chatterbox, and Feng Wu didn't even have a chance to interrupt him. As they were running out of time, Feng Wu cut him off. Stop. Listen to me now. The look on Feng Wu's face was serious and grave. You need to leave now. Just do it. After that, Feng Wu tried to push Feng Sun away. But why? Feng Sun was baffled. Feng Wu wasn't able to make him move if he didn't want to. Taking a deep breath, Feng Wu said, just do as you're told. Stop asking questions. I won't, unless you tell me why. Feng Wu said in resignation, it's dangerous here, like mortally dangerous. Isn't your life valuable? So just leave. Feng Sun looked at Feng Wu as if he had just heard a joke, and he guffawed. You're here, and you're a good-for-nothing. I'm so much better than you. Why should I be afraid if you're not? No matter what Feng Wu said, Feng Sun wouldn't leave. Time was running out, and the bird was prompting her in the ring. Frustrated, she smacked Feng Sun on his back. Sis. Feng Sun grumbled and drew in his breath. Feng Wu patted him on the shoulder. Like I said, just go. I'll go back up as soon as I'm done here. She then turned to leave. Just then, the ground shook violently. Feng Sun had an ominous feeling. Grabbing Feng Wu, he said, wait. The ground is shaking. Can you feel the temperature rising? If I'm guessing right, this is an active volcano. Let's go. As he spoke, Feng Sun grabbed Feng Wu's hand and turned to run. Feng Wu's face almost turned green. Of course, she knew that this was an active volcano. That was why she was going in. She needed that first abnormal flame, and time was running out. Let go of me. I'll go in there, and I'll be right back. Just let me go. Struggling, Feng Wu tried to run the other way. Furious, Feng Sun's eyes went bloodshot red. There's nothing but magma and fire in there. The volcano is going to erupt, and you'll be killed. You need to come with me right now. Feng Wu was equally furious. Chapter 215, Now or Never. Chapter 215, Now or Never. The magma and fire in there is exactly why I need to go in. Let go. Feng Sun picked Feng Wu up with both hands and lifted her off the ground. Feng Wu kicked and scratched, struggling to get away. Feng Sun's face went livid. You silly girl. I know what this is all about. You're upset because Boss Jun didn't save you and let you fall off that cliff. But killing yourself over such a petty thing? Seriously? Feng Wu blushed at those words. Just put me down. No, he doesn't like you, so what? Big deal. Fine, Boss Jun doesn't like you. I will. Stop acting like a baby. Come with me. Feng Wu almost had a stroke. How did it have anything to do with Jun Lin Yuan? Looking at the smoke rising from the ground, Feng Wu was on edge. Just let me go in there. I only need a minute. I'm not trying to kill myself. Feng Sun shook his head. No, if I put you down, you'll run in there and never come out. Sorry about that. With a wave of his hand, Feng Sun threw Feng Wu onto his shoulder and marched in the other direction. No, Feng Wu cried out in despair. Inside the ring, Little Phoenix banged its head on the wall in frustration. Arg, the abnormal flame. My abnormal flame. With it, I can get out of here, and I'll be able to join you in battle. Unable to defeat Feng Sun, Feng Wu's struggles were in vain. Feng Sun wouldn't listen no matter what she said. Feng Wu was overwhelmed by a sense of powerlessness. At that thought, Feng Wu kicked her legs in vexation. Feng Sun, I hate you. Feng Sun said, fine, hate me all you want, but I'm not going to let you kill yourself. You can talk to me about anything you're upset about. Killing yourself won't do anything. If you're dead, the only thing Boss Jun will say is, oh, and he'll soon forget about you. Don't do this to yourself. It's not worth it. Feng Wu, I'm telling you. Stop. His chattiness gave Feng Wu a headache. Inside the ring, Little Phoenix screamed angrily. Hit him. Hit him. Kick his ass. Feng Sun looked at Feng Wu in confusion. I saw some spiritual dragon tongue grass, about 50 meters to the left ahead of us. And wherever that grass grows, dark netherworld soil can't be far off, for the two always show up together. Feng Wu gestured at Feng Sun to put her down. Where? Feng Sun's eyes lit up. 4 spiritual dragon tongue grass and dark netherworld soil were the ingredients for the medicine that could save Mrs. Ning. Feng Sun had come here into the mountains to search for them. Feng Wu said, it's northwest of us. See that big rock over there? They're right next to it. You're much faster than I am. All right, wait here, and I'll be right back." After that, Feng Sun rushed off. Right at that moment, Feng Wu turned the other way and ran toward the core of the volcano. Yes, run. Quickly, little Phoenix flew around in circles inside the ring with its talons all curled up. It was so anxious. Run, run, run. Feng Wu knew that she was running out of time. It was like racing against life itself. She had to have that first abnormal flame, for it was exactly what little Phoenix had said. With the flame, the bird would be able to come out of the ring, which would be such a great help to Feng Wu. It was now or never. Chapter 216 Eruption. Chapter 216 Eruption. Feng Wu wasn't lying. There was indeed spiritual dragon tongue grass and dark netherworld soil in the spot she had told Feng Sun about. Feng Sun quickly finished the task of digging up the grass and the soil. When he rose to his feet, he realized that something was amiss, for Feng Wu wasn't there anymore. Given how quick-witted Feng Sun was, he figured it out right away. Feng Wu wasn't running off to kill herself again, was she? That girl. Gosh, she just wouldn't listen. At that thought, Feng Sun stuffed the things in his chest pocket and quickly ran back the same way he had come. Feng Sun was way too fast for Feng Wu to outrun. In a matter of seconds, he spotted Feng Wu. He knew it. The girl was running into a cave. Seeing that, Feng Sun was exasperated. He sped up and arrived at Feng Wu's side right before she entered the cave. A hand reached out from behind and grabbed Feng Wu by her slim shoulder, and it lifted her off the ground. Feng Wu almost burst into tears. Feng Sun had stopped her the first time, and after some painstaking effort, she had obtained this second chance for herself. But he had stopped her again. This cannot be happening. Let go of me. The volcano is going to erupt. Feng Wu kicked her legs in frustration. The bird was banging its head against the wall in the ring. Arg! With Feng Wu's speed, it would take at most a minute to get in there, catch the flame, and get out. The eruption was going to take place any moment now. Throwing Feng Wu over his shoulder, Feng Sun marched off. You know the volcano is going to erupt, and you're still running in? Do you have a death wish? Do you want to die that badly? Even if Boss June. It has nothing to do with your Boss June. I need that first abnormal flame from the eruption. Feng Wu punched him with her fists. However, Feng Sun wouldn't believe her even if she was telling the truth. Can you at least try to be more convincing? Who told you that the first flame of an eruption is going to be an abnormal one? If that's the case, everyone can just sit around and wait for an active volcano to erupt. As he spoke, boom, the ground shook violently. A short distance away, a scarlet-red flame burst out of the cliff. It was vibrant and splendid. It was stunning and brilliant. Feng Sun turned around and saw that special flame right away. His heart sank. Seriously? That flame. Even a blind man could tell how different that flame was. Right after that flame shot up, the entire cliff burst into flames. The fire grew wild beyond imagination. Thud! Feng Sun let go of Feng Wu, and she fell to the ground. It's an eruption, and that's an abnormal flame. Pursing his lips awkwardly, Feng Sun turned his black puppy dog eyes on Feng Wu, not knowing what to do. Go after it. Now. Scrambling to her feet, Feng Wu ran in the direction of the flame at an unbelievable speed. She had never run this fast before. Feng Sun came to a realization right away and also dashed off at top speed. The abnormal flame was moving very fast, and it shot across the sky like a shooting star. In a split second, it was out of sight. Over there, Feng Sun finally realized what a foolish thing he had done, and he was trying his best to make it up to Feng Wu. Hence, he ran as fast as he could, wanting to catch that escaping flame for her. Run, run, run. Chapter 217. You set me back once. Chapter 217. You set me back once. That flame is flying in the direction we came from. Quickly, there's a shortcut on the left. As she spoke, Feng Wu dashed toward the slope. Behind her, the volcano was erupting. It was such a splendid view. and just as dangerous. Ash began to rain down. The trees growing around the cliff were all charred. The air was burning. Feng Wu felt like she was turning into a piece of charcoal. Luckily, that little abnormal flame was flying down the mountain, or Feng Wu would have had to give up pursuing it already. Thanks to the shortcut, Feng Sun and Feng Wu caught up with the little flame once more. All of a sudden, the little abnormal flame plunged down into the ground and vanished completely. Why, where did it go? Feng Sun looked around in bewilderment. Everywhere he turned, he saw nothing but ash. The fire was spreading out along the slope as well. Soon, Death Valley would be devoured by the conflagration. It wouldn't stop until everything was burnt to the ground. A volcanic eruption was punishment from Mother Nature, which no one could fight against. Right now, the little flame had huddled up and made itself as tiny as possible so that the humans wouldn't spot it. It was still a baby. It was hiding so well that those people wouldn't be able to find it. The young flame tried to cheer itself up. Where's the abnormal flame? Where is it? Feng Sun stood there and searched the ground with his eyes. They were running out of time. For in a moment, the fire would reach them. By then, with or without the abnormal flame, they would have to run for their lives. Feng Wu was much more cool-headed than Feng Sun. She was also searching the ground inch by inch with her eyes wide open. They were standing on the ground where Glory King Tiger had fought that demonic blood dragon. The ground was a mess. Demonic blood dragon was engaged in battle with Jun Linyuan at the moment, while Glory King Tiger's head had already been smashed to a pulp and most of its body was buried under a mound. What? Something clicked in Feng Wu's head when she looked past Glory King Tiger. Earlier, when she was blown away by the dragon and landed on the tiger, she sensed that something wasn't right with the tiger's body, but couldn't figure out what exactly. But now, she had an idea that shocked even her. This Glory King Tiger, it's already dead, but I can still sense life in it. I think it's with that thought, Feng Wu rushed toward the tiger. Feng Sun, on the other hand, sensed nothing. He cried out, "Shit, the fire's almost on us. We have to leave now." Feng Wu put her hand on the tiger. No, she couldn't store it in her ring. It didn't work for living creatures. That was to say this Glory King Tiger was alive, or at least part of it was still alive. With that discovery, Feng Wu called out to Feng Sun, "Give me a hand." Grabbing Feng Wu, Feng Sun tried to pull her away. "Forget that tiger. Let's go. Do you want to die here?" Feng Wu shook her head. "Help me to flip it around. Young Lord Feng, you've set me back once already. Help me this time, and I'll call it even." The guilty was eating at Feng Sun, and he nodded at Feng Wu's words right away. "All right, you said it yourself. There's no going back on your word." After that, Feng Sun helped Feng Wu turn the tiger over. As soon as the body was turned over, Chapter 218, Tiger Cubs. Chapter 218, Tiger Cubs. Feng Wu stared at Glory King Tiger's belly with wide eyes, for she saw a tiny black hole in the belly with smoke rising out of it. Little Phoenix shrieked in excitement in the ring. "That's it. That abnormal flame is right inside this Glory King Tiger's belly." Feng Wu's eyes flickered. What a coincidence. She had been searching high and low for it, only to find it where she least expected. Putting her palms together, Feng Wu apologized to the dead body of Glory King Tiger, then took out a dagger from inside her sleeve and began to cut the tiger's belly open. Once dead, it no longer had any defenses, which allowed Feng Wu's dagger to cut through it. Starting from the tiny black hole, Feng Wu followed the natural lines of the muscles. However, the look on her face changed as soon as the blade dug into the flesh. "What?" Feng Sun asked involuntarily. "I think we've hit the jackpot," Feng Wu said slowly, finding it hard to believe. "What jackpot?" Feng Sun asked. Feng Wu said, "This Glory King Tiger is dead, but it was a she-tiger, and it was pregnant." "What?" Feng Sun cried out. "Why, you're telling me that there's a cub in there, and it's alive?" Feng Wu nodded. "I can sense the cub's vitality. That's so strange. How can the cub be alive after the abnormal flame got in. Feng Sun was just as amazed. That explains it. As the king of frozen forest, Glory King Tiger shouldn't have been defeated by demonic blood dragon. It was weakened by the pregnancy. Well, Xiao Wu, you need to hurry up. The fire is less than 1,000 meters from us. Feng Wu nodded as she carefully dissected the tiger. I know. This won't take long. Because the tiger was dead, Feng Wu didn't have to care about how neat the operation was. She made a very big cut in the belly. She then took out a little tiger cub. Everything about the cub was so little, its head, body, and all four limbs. Its eyes were still closed, and its face was all puckered up, but it had already begun to sniff around for food. The cub was covered in white fur, with a tiny one on its forehead. The future king of the forest was supposed to be grand and stately, but at this stage, it was nothing but adorable. Feng Sun's heart melted as soon as his eyes landed on the little thing. It keeps licking my palm. What should I do? What can I feed it? Feng Wu was going to reply when her heart lurched. Wait, what's wrong? Feng Sun asked. Feng Wu didn't reply. She went back to search around inside the tiger's belly, and before long, she took out a second cub. This one was white from head to toe and looked almost identical to the first one, only that the on its forehead wasn't quite finished and was more like a now. Feng Wu felt rather sorry for the cubs. They were taken out before they reached full term. The smaller one here didn't even have enough time to finish growing that. I think it'll remain weak for a while. Chapter 219, The Golden Couple. Chapter 219, The Golden Couple. Feng Sun was over the moon. Ha ha ha. These are the cubs of a Glory King Tiger. Little Wu, you know that Glory King Tiger is the king of frozen forest, right? Since there are two of them, how about we? Let me have a look. An indifferent voice came from behind them, and Feng Sun turned his head involuntarily. The next thing he knew, the little cub he was holding was in Jun Lin Yuan's hands now. Wait, Boss Jun. It's still so little. Holding it like that will hurt. Ah. Feng Sun cried out in surprise. For the cub bit down on Jun Lin Yuan's hand as Feng Sun watched. What baffled him even more was that its teeth had managed to cut Jun Lin Yuan's flesh, and the back of his hand was bleeding a little. Feng Sun cried out, Boss Jun, the cub hurt you. What happened to your protective ability? Jun Lin Yuan said matter-of-factly, Well, I'm injured. Feng Sun reached out to take the cub. Boss Jun, since you're injured, I'll take the cub from here. However, before Feng Sun could finish what he was going to say, what happened next utterly befuddled him. 3 shiny golden dots appeared between the cub and Jun Lin Yuan. One landed on the cub's forehead, one on Jun Lin Yuan's, and the other one hovered between them. The 3 shiny dots formed a triangle. The golden light was dazzling. Spiritual essence surged. It's Feng Sun swallowed in disbelief. It's a bond. Complex circles of light flickered between them, so bright that it stung their eyes. Especially Feng Sun's. He was driven mad with envy. That's the cub of the king of frozen forest, born with on its forehead. It's going to grow into something awesome, and I was holding it. An idea then struck Feng Sun. This one had become Boss Jun's cub, but Feng Wu had another one in her hands. Just when Feng Sun turned around and was going to do something with the cub Feng Wu was holding, something unexpected happened. Whoosh! The other cub copied what its sibling had done and bit Feng Wu's hand as well. A drop of blood trickled down. Feng Sun felt as if he had just been struck by a thunderbolt. Even a tiger cub was making fun of him now. If the first cub could be described as a poker-faced boy, the one Feng Wu was holding had a much more naive and plump face in comparison. It didn't seem to mind the strangers around it at all. After shifting into the most comfortable position, it lay down in Feng Wu's hands and began to lick Feng Wu's wound. The same shiny golden triangle appeared between this cub and Feng Wu. For a moment, the brilliant light dazzled everyone again. Feng Sun was speechless. Why did he have the feeling that the world had something against him? He darted a resentful look at Jun Lin Yuan. Xiao Wu, and I would have had 1 cub each if it wasn't for you. I would have taken a boy and she the girl. We would have made such a cute couple, and raising the cubs could have helped bring us closer. Boss June, you just ruined a potential marriage. June Linyuan's lips curled into something between a smirk and a taunting smile. Feng Wu threw a dirty look at Feng Sun. Both cubs are boys, and Feng Sun, you have an overactive imagination. Do you know that? June Linyuan smiled in satisfaction. The two cubs have been refined by the abnormal flame. The change in them is incredible. They'll grow into amazing creatures. After that, Feng Wu and June Linyuan exchanged smiles before they turned to Feng Sun in unison and grinned at him. Feng Sun felt even more frustrated now. Hey, Feng Sun drew in his breath angrily. I see you're on the same side and are congenial to each other now. Are you having fun picking on me together? You two really make a golden couple, do you know that? That startled both Feng Wu and June Linyuan, and the looks on their faces changed. Chapter 220. I swear, I really don't like June Linyuan. Chapter 220. I swear, I really don't like June Linyuan. Both Feng Wu and June Linyuan looked stunned. We're not a golden couple, Feng Wu and June Linyuan said in unison as they glared at Feng Sun. Feng Sun scratched his head. Anger flickered in June Linyuan's gloomy eyes. He looked quite intimidating once his face darkened. We're leaving. The look in June Linyuan's black eyes was grim and dangerous. All right. Feng Sun rubbed his nose, still a loss. With Boss June's capability, the cub should never have been able to make him bleed. Feng Sun was utterly baffled. When Feng Sun and Feng Wu turned to leave, June Linyuan didn't move. Boss June, Feng Sun was bewildered. Aren't you leaving? June Linyuan's dark eyes reminded one of an eagle as he said indifferently, If I'm gone, who's going to put out the fire? Feng Sun was going to say something, but June Linyuan stopped him with an elegant shake of his head. June Linyuan's black robe could conceal many things, but Feng Wu still detected the smell of blood when she walked past him. It wasn't the dragon's blood, but his own. He had to be wounded. At that thought, Feng Wu looked at June Linyuan and hesitated. Do you need your wounds treated? Feng Wu asked despite herself. Honestly, she only said it out of gratitude, for June Linyuan had saved her back there, and she didn't want to owe him anything. Hence, she offered her help. However, June Linyuan turned his sharp gaze on Feng Wu and gave her a long, knowing look. All of a sudden, his thin lips curled into a half-smile as he asked, Do you care for me that much? Feng Wu was immediately disconcerted. Worried about him? Don't flatter yourself. Where did he get that conclusion from? She was just trying to return the favor. Did he even know what that meant? Because of her vexation, Feng Wu's cheeks turned pink, which only added to her stunning beauty. She looked even more delicate and charming this way. Feng Wu took a deep breath. I'm only a chew. The air was filled with ash, and Feng Wu inhaled some as she breathed in. She began to sneeze right away and looked so miserable that Feng Sun couldn't bear to watch anymore. There's no need for an explanation. June Linyuan didn't even look at Feng Wu and only gave Feng Sun a wave of his hand. Feng Sun took the hint. Grabbing Feng Wu, he began to run down the mountain. We're leaving. The volcano is still erupting and the ash is everywhere, not to mention the fire is spreading. We need to leave now. Feng Wu pushed Feng Sun away. She had to clear it up. She really didn't like June Linyuan at all, and she couldn't let other people continue thinking that way. It would only bring her more trouble. But achoo! As soon as she opened her mouth, she choked on the ash again. Feng Sun said in resignation, Didn't you say that my aunt only has 6 hours left? It's been over 4 hours now. Are you going to give up on her? Shit. Only then did Feng Wu remember her task. Right, Mrs. Ning, she doesn't have much time left. Let's go. Feng Wu and Feng Sun picked up a cub each and ran down the mountain. Halfway down, Feng Wu couldn't help but say, Young Lord Feng. What? Feng Sun said grumpily. I need to tell you something, and I'm very serious. Feng Wu stared at Feng Sun. To June Linyuan, I really... Hey look, turning around, Feng Sun looked a short distance away on the mountain. Heavy rain began to fall, and the fire in frozen forest was being extinguished as they watched. Chapter 221. It's all your fault. Chapter 221. It's all your fault. What were you saying? Feng Sun turned back and looked at Feng Wu. I was telling you that I don't feel like that for your boss June like you think I do. Feng Wu tried her best to set things straight. So how do you feel about him? Feng Sun looked bewildered. I don't like him that way. Looking into Feng Sun's eyes, Feng Wu stressed each word earnestly. She even raised her right hand. I mean every word, from the bottom of my heart. Feng Sun darted a look at Feng Wu, as if he was looking at an idiot, and resumed walking. Feng Wu was baffled. What kind of reaction was that? Either Feng Sun believed her, or he didn't. But why had he walked away from her like that? Feng Wu was so confused. She quickly caught up with Feng Sun and grabbed his arm. What's that supposed to mean? Feng Sun stared into Feng Wu's eyes for 3 whole seconds without blinking, then threw off her hand and went on walking. Feng Wu was dumbfounded, and she stopped Feng Sun again. Wait, do you believe me or not? Taking a deep breath, Feng Sun gave Feng Wu a look of resignation and exasperation. There was also pity and sympathy in his eyes. Feng Wu was baffled. She didn't understand the meaning of Feng Sun's look, for she couldn't follow his train of thought. However, Feng Wu still had a very bad feeling about it. And she was right. Feng Sun heaved a long sigh and said earnestly, Xiao Wu, can you listen to me just this once? What? Feng Wu stared at Feng Sun, as if question marks were popping out of her head. I've seen so many girls like you, and every single one of them was the same. They all said that they weren't going to like June Lin Yuan anymore, but they all jumped at Boss June like mad women once he showed up. You girls are all the same. Feng Sun gave Feng Wu a sympathetic look. Feng Wu. Patting Feng Wu on her head, Feng Sun said, so just admit it. There's no point lying to yourself. You have to fight for your own happiness. Don't worry. I'll help you. Feng Wu. She took a deep breath, then another, which was the only thing stopping her from slapping Feng Sun on the back. Why couldn't this guy think like everyone else? She could swear to God that she really wasn't in love with June Lin Yuan. She really wasn't. However, no matter how hard she tried to clear her name, Feng Sun just wouldn't change his mind. What was worse? Feng Wu recalled what June Lin Yuan said a moment ago on the mountain. His brooding bright eyes had looked so stunning when he turned his gaze on her, asking her if she cared for him that much. Feng Wu. She was only returning a favor. What did caring for him have to do with anything? Plus, aside from family members, one would only care for someone when they like them. Had June Lin Yuan been convinced by Feng Sun, and now believed that she had this huge crush on him? At the thought of that possibility, Feng Wu blushed, cried out, buried her face in her hands, and howled. Feng Sun looked at her in confusion. He had seen at least 5 different facial expressions on Feng Wu in 1 minute, and her face looked as colorful as a rainbow. It was incredible. Little Feng Wu, Feng Sun began to speak. Feng Wu glared at him. Feng Sun, it's all your fault. Chapter 222, June Lin Yuan's Duty. Chapter 222, June Lin Yuan's Duty. What? Feng Sun gestured at himself in confusion. What did I do? I've done nothing but help you all the time. Little Feng Wu, where is your conscience? Why did you say that? Why did I say that? Because you're telling everyone that I like June Lin Yuan. So, you were trying to keep it a secret, and I made it public knowledge. No. Feng Wu, who had always been able to keep her composure, stomped her foot in vexation. I've told you a million times. I'm not in love with June Lin Yuan. I swear that if I'm not telling the truth, I'll be struck by a thunderbolt. Feng Wu had barely finished the sentence when, watch out! Feng Wu blanched and yanked Feng Wu toward him. The ground where Feng Wu had been standing was charred by the sudden clap of thunder. Feng Wu was speechless. So was Feng Sun. Shaken, they stared at each other, both at a loss over what to say. Both had awkward looks on their faces. All of a sudden, ha ha ha! Feng Sun guffawed. He laughed so hard that he was practically rolling around on the ground. This is hilarious. Ha ha. Little Feng Wu, you were so lying your ass off. Ha ha. Feng Wu took a deep breath, then another, but it wasn't enough to fight back her exasperation. One unfortunate coincidence. The thunderbolt struck as soon as she said the words. It was as if someone was doing it on purpose. She looked up at the sky. Dark clouds had gathered in the once bright blue sky, so thick that it seemed like they were going to crush them. A heavy downpour started, and peering through the rain, one could make out that figure dressed in black in the distant sky. It was Jun Linyuan. With his power alone, he had mobilized all the water there was to extinguish the volcano's violent eruption. To Feng Wu, the crown prince had always been this nonchalant, heartless, resolute, and cruel character who was almost bloodthirsty. She never expected that in order to stop the fire from spreading and damaging the farmland at the foot of the mountain, he was still doing all he could to summon the rain despite his injury. Feng Wu had never seen Jun Linyuan like this, fulfilling his duty diligently. In Feng Wu's mind, Jun Linyuan was the type that didn't give a damn about cleaning up after himself. This had changed her opinion of him, Feng Wu thought to herself. Feng Sun had no idea what was going on in Feng Wu's head, and he kept on laughing. Stop denying it already. You're staring at him, and your eyes are practically glued to the guy. At least try harder if you want to convince me. Feng Wu was speechless. Feng Sun was convinced that she was in love with Jun Linyuan no matter what she said, and Feng Wu decided to give up trying. She would give herself a heart attack if she didn't stop here. However, she would have to talk to Jun Linyuan and explain it to him later. Once she had made up her mind, Feng Wu put it aside for the time being. The most important thing now was to treat Mrs. Ning. Outside the gate of Wanping Town, Granny Chu was waiting anxiously. She couldn't help but walk around in circles. Why are they still not back? It's been almost 6 hours. Where are they? Did something happen to them up there? Just as Granny Chu was mumbling to herself in consternation, the volcano erupted in frozen forest. Granny Chu's knees buckled, and she almost dropped to the ground. Feng Wu's medical skills were the only thing they could count on at the moment. They couldn't afford to have anything happen to the girl. Luckily, Feng Wu and Feng Sun came back in short order. Miss Feng, you're back. Are you all right? Even the stern-faced Granny Chu couldn't conceal her excitement. Feng Wu nodded. I'm fine. Have you figured out who poisoned Mrs. Ning? Chapter 223. Have we met before? Chapter 223. Have we met before? Have you figured out who poisoned Mrs. Ning? Feng Wu asked. Granny Chu looked troubled. They still hadn't found out yet. Feng Wu smiled. I didn't tell you this before, but Mrs. Ning is suffering from a slow poison that was only set off after childbirth. If I've guessed right, the pale pink tulips in the tent. Granny Chu's eyes lit up. She finally saw the light. Xiaojing brought back those tulips and put them in a vase. She made sure to set them on the bedside table, saying that the fragrance would help the lady and the babies sleep. She was right. The flowers did indeed calm both babies down, Granny Chu pondered. Xiaojing isn't a domestic servant of the family, but was brought in as a maid a while ago. If there's one person that wants the lady and the babies dead, it has to be Madame Chu, our master's concubine. Feng Wu was aware that this was the Ning family's household affair. She only said this much for Feng Sun's sake. Handing both cubs to Feng Sun, Feng Wu was going to enter the tent when she heard someone cry out inside. No, my lady has fainted. Help! Feng Wu darted a look at Granny Chu. Granny Chu gritted her teeth. That's Xiaojing. Feng Wu nodded, lifted the curtain, and walked in. Inside, Mrs. Ning lay there with her eyes closed. Her face was ghastly pale, and she was barely breathing. She looked half dead already. Mrs. Yin rose to her feet immediately after she saw Feng Wu and turned her pleading gaze on the latter. Only earlier today, Mrs. Yin had been taunting and scoffing at Feng Wu. However, she was now looking at Feng Wu as if she was grasping a final life-saving straw. Miss Feng, can you save her, please? Mrs. Yin implored. Next to her, Yin Yin bit her lower lip and lowered her head. Feng Wu had no time to reply to Mrs. Yin at the moment. She said to Feng Sun, "Fetch Qiuling. I need her assistance." Sure. Feng Sun ran out of the tent right away. Because of Feng Wu's heroic deeds, once the tents were set up in Wanping Town, the head of the town let Feng Wu's mother move into the most spacious one. Luckily, Feng Wu had come prepared. She had her beautiful mother wear a black curtain hat the whole time to hide her stunning face, which spared her from any unwanted attention. Qiuling and the others were still waiting nervously for news of Feng Wu when Feng Sun rushed into their tent, grabbed Qiuling by her wrist, and said over his shoulder, "I'm going to need her for a minute." After that, he dragged Qiuling away. Qiuling had been staying out of Feng Sun's way this whole time. For back in Yunlai Tower, Feng Wu had played the ugly girl, and Qiuling was her ugly maid. Afterwards, her mistress had enjoined repeatedly that under no circumstances could they allow Feng Sun to realize what they had done. Hence, Qiuling had been avoiding Feng Sun since she got here, trying her best not to show her face in front of him. Feng Sun saw that the young maid was cringing away from him like a quail with her eyes lowered. It seemed that she didn't even dare to look him in the eye. Am I that frightening? Feng Sun touched his handsome face involuntarily. He thought he was quite good-looking. Qiuling still kept her silence with her head bowed. Have we met before? Chapter 224, The Traitor. Chapter 224, The Traitor. An idea struck Feng Sun and vanished as quickly as it appeared, so much so that he wasn't able to comprehend it himself. Qiuling's stomach churned. Oh God, please tell me this isn't happening. If she let anything slip, her mistress would be in so much trouble. Feng Wu's maid was anything but stupid. At that thought, Qiuling looked up right away, and her heart raced when she saw the brooding look in his eyes. The consequences would be unimaginable if she let him figure it out. She had to intervene and stop that train of thought. Qiuling shoved Feng Sun immediately and snapped. Why did you grab me? Where are you taking me? Help! This man is forcing himself on me. The idea had almost been within Feng Sun's reach, but Qiuling's yell successfully interrupted him. He covered Qiuling's mouth right away and glared at her. Shush! Nobody's forcing anyone. Plus, if I had to force myself on someone, I would certainly pick your mistress over you. Qiuling's top priority at the moment was to confuse Feng Sun as much as possible. Right away, she cried out, "What? You're plotting against my mistress? I can't believe it. How can you do such a thing? And you call yourself a young lord? Shame on you." Feng Sun wouldn't care as much if Qiuling had been talking about something else. However, his reputation and honor were being challenged, and of course Feng Sun had to defend himself. He cared about his reputation above all else. Thus, an argument ensued. Qiuling did her best to make all manners of quips and to give a false account of the facts. Feng Sun was so frustrated that he immediately forgot about trying to figure out where he might have seen Qiuling before. That was close. Heart-pounding, Qiuling patted her chest and rejoiced at her narrow escape. Finally, Feng Sun took Qiuling to the tent. How's my mother? Feng Wu was always concerned about her mother no matter where she was, lest she be ill-treated in any way. Feng Sun teased her. Xiao Wu, why do I feel like you don't have a mother, but a 4-year-old daughter? Ha ha ha. Feng Wu threw him a dirty look. Your aunt is lying there unconscious, and you're laughing. Feng Sun straightened his face right away. How's my aunt? And what about that poison? The poison is a rather troublesome one, but since we know what the original toxin is and what caused it to flare up, the antidote isn't that difficult to make. After that, Feng Wu took some blood from Mrs. Ning and dribbled it into the solution made from dark netherworld soil. It's indeed the lasting fragrance. Interesting. Feng Wu smiled. Well, the culprit's fingers will still have a lingering smell on them. Next to Mrs. Ning, Xiaohuan's fingers twitched involuntarily. Xiaohuan's eyes then met Feng Wu's, and her stomach lurched. Drawing a dagger out of her sleeve, Xiaohuan stabbed down at Mrs. Ning's forehead. She moved so fast that the others didn't have time to react. Luckily, Feng Wu was prepared. She threw that bottle of solution at the dagger. The bottle crashed into the dagger, making a crisp sound. Granny Chu was astonished. From what Feng Wu had hinted, she thought that Xiao Jing was the traitor lurking at Mrs. Ning's side. As it turned out, it was Xiao Huan, the seemingly docile and insignificant maid. Xiao Huan tried to flee after the failed attack, but with Feng Sun around, she wasn't going anywhere. Chapter 225, Trophy Child. Chapter 225, Trophy Child. Feng Sun struck and immediately had Xiao Huan under control. Her jaw, Feng Wu reminded him. Feng Sun understood right away and dislocated Xiao Huan's jaw. Granny Chu went up to Xiao Huan and slapped the latter's face. You? Why you of all people? At the slap, a small white pill flew out of Xiao Huan's mouth and fell on the ground. Xiao Huan had already cracked it open with her teeth. The inside was black, and it gave off a foul odor. Had it not been for Feng Wu's reminder, Xiao Huan would have swallowed the pill by now and gone silent forever. With her hands pinned behind her, Xiao Huan struggled violently with a strength one didn't think she could possess. The muscles on her face were twisted, and she looked ferocious. Glaring at Feng Wu with eyes that could spit fire, she would have throttled Feng Wu if she were free. Feng Wu, on the other hand, couldn't care less about Xiao Huan's fury. Mrs. Yin was wild with anger. It must be that Chu woman. That bitch. How dare she try to harm my sister? She's not getting away with this. If she could, Mrs. Yin would go back this instant and strangle Madame Chu with her own hands. Seeing that Mrs. Yin was going to extort a confession from Xiao Huan through torture, Feng Wu frowned and said casually, I have no interest in your domestic affairs. Take her with you and do whatever you want. Yin darted a look at Feng Wu and mumbled, Who the hell do you think you are? Slap. Mrs. Yin smacked Yin on the forehead and cast a stern look at the latter. After that, she turned to Feng Wu with a smile. My sister. She'll live, Feng Wu promised. I'll leave everything in Miss Feng's hands then. Mrs. Yin then led Yin out of the tent. As soon as they were outside, Mrs. Yin glared at Yin and scolded the latter in a low voice. Be careful with your words. What did I do? Show Miss Feng some respect. Your reckless words will get you in so much trouble one day. She's a good-for-nothing. Why should I respect her? She's not worth it. Yin, are you going to keep lying to yourself with everything that has happened? Are you going to forget everything she did today? Are you completely blinded by jealousy? Mrs. Yin had never sounded this strict before. Mother, I admit that Miss Feng isn't much of a cultivator, but she's a genius in every other aspect. I would go so far as to call her an elite genius. Don't tell me that you don't realize that. Let me break it down for you. Take that essence gathering formation as an example. Even that level 2 formation master followed her orders to the letter. If she hadn't fixed that essence gathering tower at that critical moment, more than half of the population of Wamping Town would be gone by now. And I could have been killed by the magical beasts. You're making it sound like such a big deal. And there's her medical skills. You saw it with your own eyes. It's very likely that Miss Feng has surpassed the advanced level and has already reached the master level in medicine refinement. At her young age, that's incredible. Mother, can you please stop praising her? I don't like it. Yin stomped her foot. Mrs. Yin scowled at her. You're both teenage girls, and you're even a couple of years older than her. But you can barely do anything on your own. I'd be so relieved if you even had a tenth of her talent. Mother, you're doing it again. You didn't even like her when we first met her. Yin couldn't take it anymore. Chapter 226, Cute as a Button. Chapter 226, Cute as a Button. Mrs. Yin looked at Yin in resignation. Of course, she wanted to sing praises of her own daughter instead of Feng Wu, but she simply couldn't find anything in Yin to praise. She looked at Yin from head to toe, and the longer she studied her daughter, the more lacking she found her. Mrs. Yan's brow furrowed even more deeply. Yin couldn't take it anymore. Mom, why are you looking at me like that? Mrs. Yin said, sigh. Tell me, apart from your cultivation level, are you better than Miss Feng in any other way? Yin Yin was so frustrated. Mom, do you see me as such a useless person now? You hated Feng Wu yourself and found her so arrogant and proud, didn't you? Mrs. Yin snapped. Of course those without merits are repulsive when they act arrogant. But she has every right to be. She has what it takes to be this conceited. What can you do about it? Yin Yin stomped her foot in vexation. Are you even my mother? I'm your mother, and that's exactly why I'm telling you this. Mrs. Yin rubbed her forehead. Just think about it. Other than being born into a good family, have you achieved anything on your own? Yin Yin was speechless. She didn't need to be dealt that much truth. Miss Feng may not be the best cultivator out there, but she found her own way, and her future looks very promising. Even if you look past that, you still shouldn't talk to her like that after she's saved you several times. Show her some respect from now on, all right? Mrs. Yin gave Yin Yin a glance. I need to take care of this thing with your aunt now. Don't make more trouble for me. Yin was excited at the news. Grabbing Mrs. Yin's hand, she asked, Mother, was that girl really sent by that Chu woman? Damn it, we should have killed her. Mrs. Yin smirked. She's not getting out of this alive. Mrs. Yin and Yin Yan's voices faded as they walked away. Meanwhile, inside the tent, Feng Wu shook her head with a wry smile after hearing Mrs. Yan's words. She hadn't expected to be praised by Mrs. Yin. That was a surprise. Shaking her head, she cleared her mind of all unnecessary thoughts, then began to treat Mrs. Ning with spiritual dragon tongue grass. The juice of the grass was verdant green, and Feng Wu cooked it into a liquid with a pleasant smell. Feed this to her, Feng Wu instructed Granny Chu. Granny Chu took the liquid right away and fed Mrs. Ning with a spoon. Feng Wu stared at Feng Wu anxiously. Is my aunt all right? Taking her cub from Feng's son, Feng Wu said casually, Mrs. Ning will wake up in 15 minutes, but she's extremely weak at the moment and is drained of spiritual essence. Don't go heavy on the nutritious food. Give her a liquid diet, like some plain porridge. I'll come back tomorrow. After that, Feng Wu left with her cub. This cub was exceptionally thin. Because it had been born before it reached full term, its eyes were still closed. It kept smacking its lips and looked very innocent. Why, a little tiger. The beautiful lady was doing some embroidery work in boredom when Feng Wu and Chilling got back. Seeing the adorable cub in Feng Wu's hands, the lady's eyes lit up. Feng Wu said, The little thing is not even over 2 hours old. I took it out of its dead mother's womb. It would be dead if I hadn't discovered it in time. The lady's maternal instincts instantly ran wild. She took pity on the cub and reached out for it in a hurry. The cub turned and lay there with its belly facing up. With its 2 paws next to its shin, it looked cute as a button. Chapter 227, The Cub Brothers. Chapter 227, The Cub Brothers. All of a sudden, the cub opened its sleepy eyes and met the beautiful lady's gaze. It then bit down on the lady's fingers, but only a little. Its tiny teeth felt quite ticklish on the skin. It's hungry. The lady turned her limpid eyes on Feng Wu. It's so hungry. It needs food. Feng Wu scratched her head. What does it eat? Her mother looked at her innocently and shook her head. All newborns love milk, right? I'll go find some. Chilling rushed off after that. On hearing that Miss Feng would like some milk, everyone in Wanping Town moved into action. Had it not been for Miss Feng, more than half of the town would be dead by now. Instead, they were all alive. Hence, the townsfolk felt that they couldn't thank Feng Wu enough. As a result, Chilling came back with a pile of things in her arms. She said, The people here are so warm-hearted. There's cow's milk, goat's milk, and even some breast milk. Chilling handed them the cow's milk first as she spoke. Feng Wu took the white porcelain bowl, then dribbled a drop of milk onto the cub's mouth. The cub's eyes flickered, and it immediately stuck out its tongue and began to lick its lips. However, the next second, it made as big a frown as its little face would allow. The cub darted Feng Wu a glance in distaste, then rolled its eyes at her. Feng Wu swore that she really saw the little thing roll its eyes. This tiny cub that had only been born 2 hours ago and could barely crawl had actually found her distasteful. It doesn't like cow's milk. Let's try the goat's milk. The beautiful lady couldn't bring herself to see the cub's puckered face, and she wet its mouth with the goat's milk. The cub licked the milk, and its face puckered up even more. Holding the lady's clothes between its tiny paws, it rolled around in her arms, acting like a spoiled little baby. Feng Wu was speechless. The cub rolled its eyes at her when it disliked the milk, but when it was her mother's turn, it rolled around in the latter's arms instead. This was pure discrimination. The beautiful lady's heart melted at the sight of the soft little thing in her arms. Its sparkling eyes were as clear as water and as shiny as stars. She couldn't help but say to Feng Wu, "It's so adorable and so soft." Feng Wu replied with a ha. Neither the cow's milk nor the goat's milk worked, and we only have the breast milk left. What are we going to do if it doesn't like that either? The beautiful lady looked flustered, but she still had to go with the breast milk. However, the cub buried its head in its paws and wouldn't give in. Sitting on a low stool, the beautiful lady set the cub on her lap, held it in both hands so that it was facing her, and cajoled in a soft, gentle voice, "Good cub. Let's try a little bit. Just a little. Okay?" Feng Wu watched in resignation. The cub was only a newborn. How could it possibly understand? However, Feng Wu got her face slapped almost right away. For the cub began to shake its round little head repeatedly with a big pout on its face and teary brown eyes. It looked so adorable that one wanted to eat it up. It was so cute. Wow. Chilling pressed her palms to her chest and cried out, "How can anything be this adorable? I finally know what cute as a button means." Chapter 228, Little Cub. Chapter 228, Little Cub. The cub was so cute that everyone began to make all sorts of noises, wishing that they could hold it themselves. The beautiful lady went on cajoling the cub. "Let's just try a little. A very, very little." The cub shook its head, then shook it again. Feng Wu couldn't stand it anymore and smacked the cub on its forehead. "Just eat." That successfully baffled the cub. It stared at Feng Wu, too shocked to react. Time seemed to stand still. The next second, it realized what had happened and burst into tears. Immediately, everyone stared at Feng Wu in condemnation. Feng Wu rubbed her nose. "I hardly used any strength at all." Wah, as if it had suffered the greatest grievance, the cub cried at the top of its lungs. One would think it had been abused in every possible way. Feng Wu was speechless. Her mother darted a resentful look at Feng Wu and scolded her. "How could you do that? It's just a baby. It doesn't understand." Feng Wu almost rolled her eyes. It didn't understand? It understood everything perfectly. She darted another look at the cub. She was right. The little thing rubbed its eyes with its front paws and stopped crying when Feng Wu was talking to her mother. However, as soon as Feng Wu's gaze landed on it, the little thing began to howl again. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. It seemed that she had brought back a spoiled baby. Unfortunately, Feng Wu was the only one who saw it. To everyone else, the little cub had been hopelessly wronged. The beautiful lady slapped Feng Wu lightly on the arm. "Don't bully it." The cub's cries grew noticeably quieter. The lady and Feng Wu exchanged looks, and both were surprised. "Seriously?" Her mother patted Feng Wu again, feigning a vexed tone. "That's for hitting the baby." Seeing that Feng Wu was getting punished, the cub stopped crying and watched what was going on with bright, unblinking teary eyes. All of a sudden, its mouth widened into a grin, and it began to giggle while it rubbed its paws together. Feng Wu was speechless. Was this little thing laughing at her now? Seeing how everyone was amazed, the beautiful lady was excited. "Look, it's laughing. Its smile looks so cute." The corner of Feng Wu's mouth twitched. That's a lot of grudges for such a tiny thing. Carefully wiping away the tears on the cub's face, the beautiful lady comforted Feng Wu with delight. "It's just a baby. Don't be so hard on it. It already knows how to taunt its master. Who knows what it will do when it gets older? No, I'm not keeping it. Let's throw it out." Feng Wu made a gesture as if she was going to grab the cub. Wah! Looking frightened, the cub grabbed the beautiful lady's clothes with its front paws and hid itself in her vest. Sticking its fluffy head out, it watched Feng Wu with its big brown eyes in the most pitiful manner. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Say again that it knew nothing? That cub was practically a human child with fur. Caressing the cub's head, the beautiful lady comforted it with a whisper. There, there. Xiao Wu won't throw you away. Here, be a good baby, and let's try some breast milk, shall we? Still pouting, the cub looked the most pitiful creature as its eyes brimmed with tears. It nodded at the lady's words. Chapter 229, Drama Cub. Chapter 229, Drama Cub. Feng Wu smacked her forehead. Why did she get the feeling that the cub, somehow, resembled her mother in disposition, especially when it turned its pitiful look on someone? It was simply too adorable a creature for anyone to turn down. Dipping a chopstick in the breast milk, the lady put the tip to the cub's mouth. However, the cub stared at Feng Wu and wouldn't eat. Turning her head, the lady saw that Feng Wu was standing close by, so she said, "Move over there a little." The cub nodded happily. Feng Wu smacked her forehead. The cub really did find her distasteful. As its master, her spiritual pet, which had formed a bond with her, was giving her attitude. Feng Wu moved closer and glared at the cub, which pursed its mouth and threatened to cry again, looking like a wronged baby. Feng Wu was shocked. It was a drama cub. Acting had to be its inborn talent. Seeing the cub's reaction, the lady felt so sorry for it that she pushed Feng Wu away. "You're scaring it." Feng Wu. Ah, the cub rubbed against the softest part of the lady's chest. Feng Wu. Stroking its little head, the lady said, There, there, be a good boy. We'll try a little breast milk, and if you don't like it, we'll find something else for you. Okay?" The cub nodded. That elated the beautiful lady. Looking up at Feng Wu with her bright black eyes, she said, "Look, it's such a sweet, innocent baby." Feng Wu replied with a ha. However, when the breast milk was in its mouth, the cub's round little face puckered up again, and it was on the verge of breaking into tears. The lady was flustered. Tugging at Feng Wu's sleeve, she said, "What are we going to do? It can't drink any of the 3 types of milk. What can it eat? What do we do now?" Feng Wu snapped. "Mum, get your facts straight. It's not that it can't have any of them. It doesn't like them, that's all." The lady sounded vexed. "That's right. It doesn't like them. Go find something it'll like to eat." Feng Wu said grumpily, "Just ignore it. It'll eat anything when it's hungry enough." As soon as she said those words, her mother, Qiuling, and even Granny Zhao gave her looks of condemnation in unison. Feng Wu added, "I'm telling the truth. It's just so picky. Why doesn't it just eat what's on the menu?" That piqued the lady. "We can't do that. It hasn't had anything to eat since it was born, and it must be starving now." The cub nodded repeatedly. Tugging at Feng Wu's sleeve, the beautiful lady swayed her arm back and forth. "Xiao Wu, you're the best. I'm sure you can figure something out, right?" Feng Wu sighed. Qiuling also turned her pleading eyes on Feng Wu. "Miss, the cub was born without a mother. That's so sad." Even Granny Zhao looked like she had something to say to Feng Wu, but held back. Fixing her gaze on Feng Wu, the beautiful lady bit her lower lip and let tears well up in her puppy dog eyes. Fine, fine, fine. Feng Wu finally saw where the cub had learned all its acting skills from. It was so good at imitating people that it must have copied her beautiful mother. While Feng Wu couldn't say no to her mother and the others couldn't say no to the cub. Nature truly worked in interesting ways. Raising both hands in surrender, Feng Wu said, "You guys take care of the little thing. I'll look around outside." Chapter 230, Young Lord, what are you doing? Chapter 230, Young Lord, what are you doing? The eruption in frozen forest had stopped, and the conflagration had been extinguished by the downpour. Had it not been for the rain, the fire would have spread and the entire forest would have been devoured and burnt to the ground. If that had happened, an area of thousands of kilometers around the mountain would have become barren. countless people would have lost their homes. Jun Linyuan was able to turn things around single-handedly by drawing the water here in the form of rain to put out the fire. What a heroic deed! However, Jun Linyuan, the Rainmaker, left the mountain on Xinyi's back. The noble, composed, and all-powerful Jun Linyuan was now lying in bed, looking inert. His breathing was very shallow, and he was so exhausted that he couldn't keep his eyes open. Feng Sun was exasperated. He yelled, "Boss Jun, I'll go get a medicine refiner. Wait here. Just wait." Jun Linyuan opened his mouth, trying to say something, but couldn't make any sound. Feng Sun moved closer in a fluster. "Boss Jun, what did you say?" "Feng Wu," Jun Linyuan said weakly. Feng Sun jumped to his feet. "Look at the state you're in right now. This isn't the time for personal grudges. Feng Wu is an excellent doctor. I'm sure she can cure you." Jun Linyuan was going to say something else, but Feng Sun cut him off. Fine. I won't get Feng Wu. I'll go find another medicine refiner. If they can treat you, we won't need Feng Wu." Feng Sun mumbled as he rushed off. Why does Boss Jun dislike Feng Wu so much? She's actually pretty nice. Why forget it? Boss Jun is the top priority here. Feng Sun spotted young Master Ba as soon as he went outside, and he grabbed the latter by the wrist. Young Master Ba was flustered. Young Lord, what are you doing?" Feng Sun snapped. "I'm offering you a chance to treat the Crown Prince. Please don't." Young Master Ba was flabbergasted. The Crown Prince was so frightening. One sharp gaze from those black eyes was enough to freeze one's soul. No one would even go near the guy if given the choice. Young Master Ba tried to break free, but Feng Sun kept dragging him toward the room. Before long, young Master Ba was inside the chamber. Dragging him to Jun Linyuan, Feng Sun said loudly, "What are you waiting for? Do your job." Young Master Ba grimaced. The Crown Prince's sharp gaze felt like a blade on his skin, and his limbs went stiff. He didn't even dare look Jun Linyuan in the eyes. Pleading with Feng Sun in a feeble voice, he said, "Why me? I'm not good enough. I can't. You need Miss Feng. She's the real star here. Young Lord, how about I fetch her for you?" He tried to slink away after that. Feng Sun threw a dirty look at him. "I would have gone to Feng Wu if I could. Just cut the crap and get the job done." Young Master Ba said with a long face, "Did Miss Feng refuse to take the job?" "Of course not. Feng Wu wants to get close to Boss Jun more than anything else, but Boss Jun doesn't like her touch." As goofy as Feng Sun was, he wouldn't have Jun Linyuan wronged in any way, and he protested loudly right away. Young Master Ba's eyes lit up. "So Miss Feng likes." "Absolutely." Feng Sun looked very pleased, more pleased than if the one Feng Wu had fallen in love with was him. Putting his hands behind his back, he raised his chin proudly. Chapter 231. Jun Linyuan? What's wrong with him? Chapter 231. Jun Linyuan? What's wrong with him? Do you have any idea who Boss Jun is? No woman in this world can resist him. Cough. Jun Linyuan broke into a fit of coughing and blue veins popped on his forehead. See how badly Boss Jun is coughing here? Do something. Feng Sun was on edge. Young Master Ba was genuinely afraid of Jun Linyuan. The fear of someone superior wasn't something one could get over through sheer will. His eyes met Jun Linyuan's, and his fingers, which were feeling Jun Linyuan's pulse, jolted. Feng Sun blanched at that reaction. If a medicine refiner couldn't keep his composure while feeling for a pulse, he was as good as nothing. Scratching his head anxiously, Feng Sun wondered if he should fetch Feng Wu now. However, it seemed that Boss Jun disliked Feng Wu a lot. Would seeing the girl aggravate his condition? This was such a tough call. Feng Wu had no idea about all the things that Feng Sun was making up himself. She was wandering around Wanping Town at the moment and was about to go back to her tent. "Xiao Wu, you're back. Have you found anything?" Her mother asked anxiously as soon as Feng Wu entered. Feng Wu smacked her forehead. The concern her mother felt for the cub was more than what she felt for Feng Wu and Feng Xiaoqi put together. Seeing the feeble cub in her mother's arms, Feng Wu frowned a little. It's still not eating. It had been an hour since she left. Her mother said anxiously, "No, it isn't. It lay down on its stomach in my lap after you left and slept. It's been smacking its lips and rubbing its belly every now and then. It must be starving, but it won't eat anything we give it. Look, it's so weak that its eyes are unfocused." Seeing all the porridge on the table that hadn't been touched, and looking at the cub whose eyes had gone blank with hunger, Feng Wu sighed in resignation. The little thing could be so clever at times, but was equally stubborn as well. Wait, she had seen its brother riding Feng Sun's shoulder just now, and that one had looked rather energetic. Had Feng Sun found the right thing to feed the cub? She picked up her cub right away and told her beautiful mother, "I'm going to ask Feng Sun what he's been feeding his cub. I'll get this one something to eat while I'm at it." Her mother prompted her, "Go now, quickly." With the little thing in her arms, Feng Wu asked passers-by for Feng Sun's whereabouts. "Miss Feng, are you looking for the young master?" said Granny Chu. "He's in the courtyard of that undamaged building, and he's looking after the crown prince." "Jun Linyuan? What's wrong with him?" Feng Wu looked at frozen forest in the distance involuntarily. Last time she checked, flames were searing the sky and smoke was billowing in the air. The fire had been spreading down the mountain, ready to burn the entire world to a crisp. It was only now that Feng Wu realized that the fire was completely gone. The top of the mountain was inky black. It wouldn't take long for life to come back to frozen forest again. Had Jun Linyuan really drawn all those storm clouds here? Could one man control the power of nature to that extent? Exactly how formidable was Jun Linyuan? Feng Wu was lost in thought when, "Miss Feng? Miss Feng!" Her reverie was interrupted by Granny Chu. "Look, the young master has come out. He's right there by the door." Chapter 232, Humiliated? Chapter 232, Humiliated? Feng Wu turned around and saw that Granny Chu was right. Feng Sun was standing at the entrance to the most luxurious courtyard in all of Wanping Town. However, as soon as he spotted Feng Wu, he spun around and was ready to rush back in, acting as if he hadn't noticed Feng Wu at all. Feng Wu called out, "Feng Sun!" Ahem! Seeing that he had been spotted, Feng Sun had no choice but to stop running. Turning around, he looked at Feng Wu in resignation. "Why are you running away from me? I'm not going to eat you alive." Feng Wu went up to him and said grumpily, "By the way, I was told that the crown prince is inside. Is he injured? Did he really create that storm in frozen forest?" Upon her honor, Feng Wu was asking out of genuine curiosity. She only wanted to find out if Jun Lingyuan's cultivation level was as unbelievable as she thought. However, Feng Sun took that most unobtrusive question in a completely different way. Rubbing his forehead, he looked at Feng Wu in resignation. "Why are you looking at me like that? Do I have something on my face?" Feng Wu darted him a glance. "No, there's nothing on your face, but there's a lot going on in your head." Feng Sun gave Feng Wu a knowing look. "Didn't you swear over and over again that you haven't fallen in love with Jun Linyuan and that you don't like him at all? You even talked about getting struck by a thunderbolt. What'd I tell you back then? Don't be a two-faced girl. I was right, wasn't I?" Feng Wu was baffled. I'm curious, that's all." Feng Sun eyed Feng Wu sympathetically. Fondness results in concern, and concern triggers curiosity. Hence, you're fond of boss Jun Qed. Feng Wu was speechless. Why was it so tiring to talk to Feng Sun? "Fine, forget it." Feng Wu shrugged. Feng Sun kept his brooding eyes on Feng Wu until it gave her the creeps. "Fine, just say whatever's on your mind. Don't hold back." "It's not like you can actually hold anything back," Feng Wu snapped. "Xiao Wu," Feng Sun sounded like he was offering some weighty advice. "You should know by now that Boss Jun doesn't have any feelings for you, nor will he ever. So, since he's not feeling well at the moment, why don't you just leave him alone for the time being?" Feng Wu clenched her fists. He made it sound as if she was throwing herself at Jun Linyuan. This was so frustrating. Feng Sun went on, "Xiao Wu, I'm a person that always speaks my mind. You're great as a formation master and a medicine refiner, but you're no longer a cultivator which means you won't get very far on either of those two paths. You should stop dreaming about Boss June. It won't end well for you. Feng Wu. Talking to this guy was the worst decision she had made today. She had just gotten humiliated for nothing. Honestly, about Jun Lin Yuan, before Feng Wu could finish her sentence. Loud clunks rang out inside, accompanied by young Master Ba's shriek. Feng Sun's stomach lurched. Shit, I'll go have a look. Xiao Wu, don't go in. Boss Jun might get worse if he sees you. Feng Sun disappeared into the room after that. Feng Wu was flabbergasted. She really needed to vent her anger on someone now. Turning around, she saw that there were only two people nearby, Granny Chu and Yin Yin. Chapter 233, 3 Slaps. Chapter 233, 3 Slaps. Utterly embarrassed, Granny Chu curtsied to Feng Wu, then went back inside. Feng Wu was rendered speechless. Damn it. Word would soon go around about Feng Sun giving her a speech about keeping her distance from Jun Lin Yuan. This was so frustrating. Oh my, seeing Feng Wu, Yin Yin smirked. Oh my, I was just wondering who was the shameless girl throwing herself at His Royal Highness. So it's you. Feng Wu took a deep breath. Yin Yin held a lot of grudges against her, and no matter what she said, the girl would only respond with more humiliating words. So why bother? Feng Wu darted a glance at Yin in disdain, snorted, and turned to leave with the cub. Yin, however, wouldn't let Feng Wu leave. Smirking at Feng Wu with an aggressive look on her face, Yin said, My mom was going on about how much promise you have. So, you're not going to get anywhere with being a formation master and medicine refiner without any cultivation. Ah. That's like the funniest thing I've heard today. Feng Wu smiled and looked at Yin calmly. I've been wondering, you're just a country girl from some border town. Why are you so familiar with my cousin? I see that you're doing it on purpose because you're trying to get close to His Royal Highness. Feng Wu, do you even know what shame is? Are you done? Feng Wu asked. Of course not. Yin glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu, I'm warning you. Stay away from my cousin and His Royal Highness. Otherwise what? Feng Wu was still smiling as she asked nicely. Otherwise, I'll beat you up every time I see you. Yin threatened. Are you done now? Feng Wu asked again, her voice calm and her expression earnest. Yin smirked. Yes, get lost. Before Yin could say another word, all of a sudden, a shadow came down quickly at her face. Smack! She was slapped hard on the cheek. Yin was baffled. Staring at Feng Wu in disbelief, she didn't know how to react. Feng Wu smirked. That's for your ignorance. She wasn't without cultivation, and her career in medicine refinement and formation would go as far as she wanted. This girl deserved that slap. Before Yin could react, Feng Wu slapped her again. That's for your conceit and all the rubbish you said. Since when did she, Feng Wu, like Jun Lin Yuan? That was simply a false accusation. With Yin short temper, she was never going to stand still and let Feng Wu slap her. She tried to move and fight back. However, to Yin surprise, she realized that she couldn't move. It was as if she had been nailed to the ground. She couldn't even lift a finger, let alone move her arms. How could this be? Yin looked panic-stricken. Wasn't Feng Wu a cripple that couldn't cultivate anymore? Wasn't Feng Wu a good-for-nothing? Why on earth did it seem like not only could Feng Wu overpower her, she could even render her completely immobile? What had gone wrong? Just as Yin was feeling sick with anxiety, Feng Wu raised her hand and slapped Yin again. This is for all the wild talk. Slap. The sound was loud and crisp. Chapter 234. Are you even my cousin? Chapter 234. Are you even my cousin? Feng Wu had exerted the most strength in that last slap. So much so that Yin was sent flying back in the air. Bang! Poor Yin. She fell to the ground on her back. Grimacing in pain, she lay there for a long while before standing back up. Yin glared at Feng Wu, her eyes spitting fire. She was furious, Just then, someone was thrown out of the room. Feng Wu turned to look and saw that it was young Master Ba. Anyone that had just been tossed out of a room would be exasperated, but young Master Ba actually looked relieved. Scrambling to his feet, he ran away without hesitation. Inside, Feng Sun said to Jun Linyuan with a long face, "Boss Jun, you're so badly injured and you've exhausted all your spiritual essence. The consequences will be unthinkable if you don't get proper treatment. Young Master Ba is no good. How about we get Feng Wu here? I promise that she'll only touch you when necessary." "Okay." Jun Linyuan gave Feng Sun a very strange and ineffable look. Worried, Feng Sun walked around in circles. "Boss Jun, I know you hate it when women throw themselves at you, and you hate their touch even more. We all know that you don't like Feng Wu, but we're in a special situation here. Just think of her as a medicine refiner, not a woman. I'll go fetch her now." Feng Sun rushed out after that, fearing that Jun Linyuan might stop him. The look Jun Linyuan gave Feng Sun as the latter ran away was indescribable. Feng Sun rushed out of the room to find Yin charging at Feng Wu like a cannonball. By the look of it, Yin was going to tear Feng Wu to pieces. Feng Sun was shocked to see this. With a wave of his hand, he pushed Yin back. Poor Yin. She had finally struggled to her feet and was going to throttle Feng Wu when Feng Sun intervened at that moment. He couldn't have chosen a worse moment. Not only did he show up uninvited, he took Feng Wu's side. Bang! Yin had spared no effort when she hurled herself at Feng Wu. Hence, the counterforce was just as strong. Thump! Yin smashed into the outer wall of a house a short distance away. The structure of the house had already been compromised in the earthquake. Under the impact of such a considerable force, crumble. The house collapsed before Yin could rise to her feet, and she was buried under all the debris. Feng Sun's mouth fell open as he watched. It really was just a little push. How? Why were the two of you fighting? Feng Sun asked Feng Wu involuntarily as he rushed over to dig Yin out. Darting a look at Feng Sun, Feng Wu turned to leave with the cub. She had vented some of her anger after slapping Yin around. However, that wasn't enough to appease her. Yin head popped out after Feng Sun brushed some broken bricks away, and she looked like she was going to tear Feng Sun apart with her eyes. "Feng Sun, are you even my cousin? How could you help her instead of me? What sort of cousin are you?" Yin had only just started to lash out with her accusations when Feng Sun looked over his shoulder to find Feng Wu walking away. He was exasperated. Ignoring Yin, he jumped to his feet and ran after Feng Wu. Yin was dumbfounded. Not only had he pushed her and gotten her buried under a house, he had also run off before helping her out of this wreckage. Was he really Feng Sun, her cousin? Why was he like this now? Chapter 235. Happy? Satisfied? Chapter 235. Happy? Satisfied? Yin had never felt this aggrieved in her life, and she burst into tears right away. However, Feng Sun had no time to care about her feelings, for his top priority now was Jun Linyuan, and Feng Wu ranked right after the Crown Prince. Hence, he didn't even hear Yin crying. Running after Feng Wu at full speed, he grabbed her by her right shoulder and spun her around to face him. Feng Wu fought back her anger and clenched her fists. After all, Feng Sun was so much more advanced than her in his cultivation that there was no point in trying to fight back. A level 6 spiritual master was still too weak. She needed to work faster. Feng Wu made a mental note. Feng Sun was chastened to see Feng Wu's cold face. He asked timidly, "Are you still mad at me?" Feng Wu rolled her eyes. She couldn't even be bothered to get angry anymore. When would this guy ever stop? What? Feng Wu threw a dirty look at Feng Sun. "Let go of me if there's nothing else. My cub needs feeding." Feng Sun paid no attention to the starving cub. Looking at Feng Wu, he suddenly grinned and said in a mysterious voice, "Little Feng Wu, I can make your dream come true. Are you happy to hear that?" "My dream? Do you even know what my dream is?" Feng Wu stared at Feng Sun. She wished more than anything to become a spiritual grandmaster now, and make Zhuo Qingluan kneel before her. How is Feng Sun going to help her with that? Feng Sun snapped his fingers. I can get you to Boss Jun's side now. Happy? Satisfied? Feng Wu said in disdain. Is that what you think my dream is? Feng Sun said, what else? Aren't you always trying to get close to Boss Jun? You couldn't bear to part with him up on the mountain. This is a great opportunity. Feng Wu smirked, then promptly turned to leave. Hey, why are you walking away? Feng Sun grabbed Feng Wu by the wrist. Weren't you looking forward to this? Seriously, don't act like a prude. Feng Wu snorted. I'm too busy for that. Feng Sun rubbed his nose. It seemed that what he had said just then had hurt the girl's pride. Sigh, but he was only telling the truth. It was for her own good. Why, isn't this your cub? Why does it look so dispirited? Wait, is it going to die? Feng Sun cried out in surprise. Feng Wu finally stopped, for she remembered why she was here, to find something to feed the cub. Looking down, she saw the cub lying in her arms with its head down. I think it's starving. Don't tell me you haven't fed it anything this whole time. Feng Sun stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. What should I feed it? Feng Wu asked involuntarily. Well, you don't have the thing even if I told you what it is. There, I'll take the cub and feed it, while you get on with treating Boss Jun deal. After that, Feng Sun snatched the cub away and left in a hurry. Hey, Feng Wu tried to stop Feng Sun, but the guy was too quick for her to do anything. Feng Wu was speechless. Did she really have to treat Jun Linyuan now? Feng Wu scratched her head in exasperation. Chapter 236. Look, listen, question, and feel. Chapter 236. Look, listen, question, and feel. She wanted to stay as far away as she could from Jun Linyuan to stop the rumor from spreading. But now, the deal had already been forced upon her, even if she objected. Looking up at the vast frozen forest in the distance, Feng Wu stared at the wet ashes. Jun Linyuan had done it for the people. Fine, she would treat him for the sake of his contribution. Rubbing her forehead in resignation, Feng Wu turned around and walked toward the luxurious courtyard. The lower half of Yin was still buried in the debris. Seeing Feng Wu walk in, she snorted. And I thought you were so pure and lofty. You came back as soon as my cousin went away. You just can't leave the crown prince alone. You're such a hypocrite. Feng Wu, one day, I'll rip off your mask and let everyone see you for who you really are. Feng Wu walked in. Jun Linyuan was lying flat on the richly decorated bed in the main bedroom. His face was pale and haggard, and he looked extremely weak. He was exhibiting the typical symptoms of spiritual essence exhaustion. Even so, the aura he was giving off was still impossible to ignore, and his glance was as dangerous and intimidating as ever. Feng Wu's stomach lurched for no reason. Jun Linyuan was so overbearing. No wonder young Master Ba had been terrified. Even she, who had such a tough mind, was a little shaken herself. However, since Feng Sun had forced her to make the deal, Feng Wu had no choice but to inch toward Jun Linyuan. This was the first time that Feng Wu was looking down at Jun Linyuan from this angle. It was getting dark outside, but the luminous pearls on the wall lit up the room like daylight. The light shone on his stunning face. His long, inky black hair hung loose around his shoulders, and he had narrowed his pretty eyes, which made his gaze even more brooding and piercing. Enjoying the view, Jun Linyuan turned his sharp gaze on Feng Wu. Feng Wu's heart lurched, and she came back to herself instantly. Had she just been enthralled by Jun Linyuan's beauty? How? Feng Wu pressed a hand to her chest involuntarily. After looking at her mother's stunning face all these years, Feng Wu's beauty tolerance had increased significantly, but when she saw Jun Linyuan, she was still struck dumb by his beauty, which was proof enough of how stunning his face was. Ahem, Feng Wu cleared her throat. Pardon, why are you here? Jun Linyuan replied with a question. To treat your injuries, said Feng Wu matter-of-factly. And what are you doing now? Leaning back on a cushion, Jun Linyuan kept his unblinking gaze on Feng Wu, his deep-set eyes dark and shiny, as if they held some unrevealed secret. Feng Wu rubbed her pretty nose. She had been struck dumb by Jun Lingyuan's beautiful face as soon as she walked in, and her mind had wandered off after that. That was so. Clearing her throat, she sat down on a gilded stool next to the bed. She then said to Jun Linyuan with a straight face, "Your Royal Highness, may I have your right hand, please?" The four diagnostic methods are look, listen, question, and feel. So, you were doing the look part when you stare at me just then? Jun Linyuan kept his brooding gaze on her. His eyes reminded her of twinkling stars under the flickering light of the luminous pearls. They looked misty and mesmerizing. Chapter 237, As You Wish. Chapter 237, As You Wish. Ahem. Of course, Feng Wu wouldn't tell him that she had simply been lost in his beauty. Look referred to observing the patient's complexion. Hence, Feng Wu played along and nodded. Your Royal Highness, you look pale. I would advise you to stay in bed for the next 3 days. Otherwise, you may suffer from after effects. Jun Linyuan didn't reply, but only smiled a little. What about listen? Listen meant listening to the patient's voice. Feng Wu said, your voice is hoarse and breathy. I would advise you to speak as little as possible. So, Feng Sun was right. She did care about him, thought Jun Linyuan. Keeping his intense gaze on Feng Wu, Jun Linyuan offered her his right hand. As you wish. Feng Wu darted a glance at Jun Linyuan in confusion. As she wished? What was that supposed to mean? How was feeling his pulse or wish? Since she had no idea what he meant, Feng Wu focused all her attention on the job at hand. Jun Linyuan was indeed incredible. His spiritual essence was depleted, his dantian was as empty as a dry well, and his meridians had shriveled because of the lack of spiritual essence. He had single-handedly raised a storm to put out a wildfire. Who would have thought that Jun Linyuan, the guy who was said to be heartless and had little regard for human life, would do such a thing? And he wasn't even trying to prove anything. As she went on feeling his pulse, the look on Feng Wu's face changed. He had exhausted his spiritual essence, his blood was curdling, and his meridians were all tangled up. It felt as if a storm had rampaged through his body, leaving such a mess behind. She could only imagine how much pain he was in. Feng Wu's stomach lurched, and she looked up at Jun Linyuan despite herself. Any ordinary person would have been killed by such a severe internal injury. Even if they survived, they would have passed out from the pain. However, Jun Linyuan didn't even look wounded apart from his pale face. That was very like Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu darted him another look. Can't you feel the pain? Jun Linyuan's black eyes flickered all of a sudden. So, Feng Sun was right. The girl cared for him. He stared at Feng Wu unblinkingly, his eyes very bright. His gaze was so intense that Feng Wu could feel the heat on her skin. Before she knew it, her heart began to race. Feng Wu flexed her fingers, then looked up and met Jun Linyuan's gaze bravely. You need to stay in bed for 3 days. I'll write you a prescription now. All you need to do is get all the ingredients. You're not leaving that bed for the next 3 days. Feng Wu then turned to write at the desk. Tapping his fingers on the bed, Jun Linyuan was lost in thought. When he turned to look again, he saw Feng Wu's profile. She was sitting at the desk with her head lowered. He could see her smooth forehead and the peach fuzz on her temples, which looked adorable. Her lowered gaze reminded him of an ethereal pond that didn't belong to this world. The straight bridge and delicate tip of her nose was fairer than snow and more translucent than jade. The arch of her neck was more beautiful than all the views in the world put together. Jun Linyuan had never been someone who was obsessed with beauty, for no one could match his own. However, looking at this girl with her bright eyes, smooth cheeks, and glowing complexion, Jun Linyuan felt something crack in his heart. Thump, thump, thump. It was as if a 10,000-year-old glacier had begun to crack. Chapter 238, WH. What on earth had she done? Chapter 238. What on earth had she done? He looked away all of a sudden, and he clenched his fists. Feng Wu had just finished writing a prescription. She blew the ink dry, turned around, and happened to meet Jun Lin Yuan's eyes. Why, Feng isn't here. Is he not with you this time? She remembered that Feng, the steward, took care of Jun Lin Yuan, from keeping the crown prince safe to maintaining good order in his daily life. The Imperial capital. Jun Lin Yuan looked up at the beam and fixed his unblinking gaze on it, turning away from Feng Wu completely. Seeing Jun Lin Yuan's manner, Feng Wu smiled wryly inside. Exactly how repulsive did Jun Lin Yuan find her? She hadn't asked for the betrothal back then, and she was the victim in the annulment. But he was angry when she wasn't. Feng Wu had her pride, too. At that thought, she smacked the prescription on the table. Your Royal Highness, here's the prescription. Feng Sun can get all the ingredients for you when he comes back. I'll leave you in peace. She then turned to leave. Jun Lin Yuan frowned a little. Staring at Feng Wu's back, he said stop. Did he think she was going to follow his order now? Feng Wu had never been docile like that. She went on marching out. She halted all of a sudden. It was as if she was glued to the spot, and she couldn't even lift a finger. The next thing she knew, she was flying backwards. She had barely cried out when with a thump, she smashed into Jun Lin Yuan's bed and nearly fell on him. Jun Lin Yuan gave a grunt and turned even paler. Feng Wu looked up and Jun Lin Yuan lowered his head, the tips of their noses almost touching. Feng Wu panicked for no reason. He was Jun Lin Yuan, the overbearing, terrifying crown prince. The guy was a hopeless neat freak, and she was so close to him now. We chop her up for this. At that thought, Feng Wu tried to sit up and jump off the bed, but bang! Their foreheads, which were only inches apart, smacked into each other. Feng Wu almost burst into tears, and she could see stars. She then heard a grunt. No! Feng Wu's stomach lurched. Jun Lin Yuan might not seem it, but he had been severely injured internally. He was as fragile as glass now. After bumping into him, she had just knocked into his head. Feng Wu couldn't bring herself to look at Jun Lin Yuan now. After flexing her fingers, Feng Wu opened her eyes. She saw those brooding eyes as soon as she opened her own. Up close, the look in his eyes was even more intense. His eyes were so black and bright at the same time that they seemed to be able to suck out one's soul. Jun Lin Yuan bent down all of a sudden, but Feng Wu moved even faster. She pushed at Jun Lin Yuan's chest. Bang! Because of his severe internal injury, the usually imposing and overbearing Jun Lin Yuan didn't have much strength left. The little bit of spiritual essence he had managed to gather had been used up when he pulled Feng Wu back. So, when Feng Wu pushed him involuntarily, bang! Jun Lin Yuan fell back, and the back of his head hit the wall hard. It was a loud and crisp sound. Feng Wu watched with wide eyes, too nervous to breathe. What was she doing? OMG. SH. What on earth had she done? Chapter 239. So mad. Chapter 239. So mad. Would Jun Lin Yuan die from banging his head on the wall? Feng Wu stared at Jun Lin Yuan with wide eyes. He was leaning against the wall with a straight back. His face was drained of all color, his eyes were tightly shut, and his face was emotionless. He wasn't dead, was he? Feng Wu was a little frightened. As a medicine refiner, Feng Wu knew Jun Lin Yuan's internal injury better than anyone else. If his vitality could be represented by the HP bar like in games, right now, Jun Lin Yuan's HP was down to the very last bit. He could be killed by a pat on the shoulder. Chastened, Feng Wu almost slapped herself. Her entire clan would be annihilated if Jun Lin Yuan died here. Her beautiful mother and her sweet brother would both be. Taking a deep breath, Feng Wu calmed herself down. Then, she moved closer and put her right index finger under Jun Lin Yuan's nose. He wasn't breathing. Feng Wu blanched. This couldn't be happening. Jun Lin Yuan was dead. There was no time to think. She leant toward Jun Lin Yuan and gave him CPR. Jun Lin Yuan had indeed stopped breathing for a brief moment when Feng Wu shoved him into the wall, but it was only for a split second. He wasn't that weak. His body was able to adjust itself, and he was soon breathing again. However, at that moment, soft lips were pressed to his. Moreover, she pried his lips open and stuck her tongue in. The soft lips felt like an electric shock, and it was a sensation he had never experienced before. Jun Linyuan's heart skipped a beat. Eyes wide open, he stared at Feng Wu, baffled by that first kiss. Feng Sun's words played repeatedly in his head. Feng Wu is crazy about you. Don't give her any hope if you don't like her. He never took Feng Sun's words seriously, but the guy turned out to be right this time. Feng Wu was indeed crazy about him. Stiffening, Jun Linyuan clenched his fists. His face was as fair as ever, but his earlobes had turned a shade pinker. Only then did Feng Wu sense Jun Linyuan's hot breath on her cheeks. He was. Opening her eyes, she met his brooding gaze. His eyes were darker than the night sky, but brighter than stars. They were resplendent and dazzling. Right now, he was looking at her unblinkingly, and the look on his face was. Feng Wu bolted up. Wiping her mouth, she struggled to keep her composure as she looked at Jun Linyuan. You were almost. Do you ever get shy? Jun Linyuan said with a solemn look on his face. Feng Wu was befuddled. What do you mean? Jun Linyuan cleared his throat, and he sounded rather grim when he said, self-respect is an important quality for a young woman. Feng Wu's face turned livid immediately. Glaring at Jun Linyuan, she was furious. She didn't have self-respect. She had only done that because she didn't want her clan wiped out due to the all-powerful crown prince dying on her watch. How did self-respect have anything to do with that? Angry and aggrieved, Feng Wu promptly turned to leave. That baffled Jun Linyuan, and he didn't know how to respond. Bang! Feng Wu slammed the door, shut behind her. Jun Linyuan frowned a little, the look on his face ineffable. Feng Wu charged out to find Feng Sun standing outside. Seeing Feng Wu, he ran up to her happily and asked, Xiao Wu, how did it go? Is Boss Jun all right? Feng Wu's hands reached out. Chapter 240. Are you thinking about Feng Wu? Chapter 240. Are you thinking about Feng Wu? Snatching the cup back, Feng Wu snorted. Does it look like there's something wrong with your boss, Jun? He's doing a great job pissing me off. She then turned to leave. Feng Sun's eyes widened as he watched Feng Wu leave. Why was she so angry? Entering the room, Feng Sun saw his boss, Jun, sitting on the bed, and his mind seemed to be somewhere else. Him? Mind wandering off. Was Boss Jun even capable of that? How strange. Feng Sun went up to the bed, sat down on the stool, which Feng Wu had used just then, and stared at Jun Linyuan unblinkingly with his chin in his hand. When Jun Linyuan came back to himself, he saw Feng Sun in front of him, and he narrowed his eyes. When had Feng Sun come in? How come he hadn't heard it at all? Looking Jun Linyuan up and down, Feng Sun examined him closely. Jun Linyuan darted a casual glance at him. What are you looking at? Had Feng Sun somehow figured out what had happened? Jun Linyuan touched his lips involuntarily. He thought he could still feel the heat of her lips. Feng Sun's eyes twinkled. I see that Feng Wu is indeed as good a doctor as they say she is. You already look much better after that brief treatment. Cough. Hearing Feng Sun's words, Jun Linyuan choked on his spit, and the look on that beautiful face was ineffable. Feng Sun grew anxious right away. Boss Jun, are you all right? Did she do anything wrong? How exactly did she treat you anyway? I'll go ask her. Stop. Jun Linyuan cleared his throat. Feng Sun turned around. Boss Jun, do you really not need me to get Feng Wu? Jun Linyuan said indifferently, no. All right. Feng Sun came back, sat down, and began to look him up and down again. Jun Linyuan threw a dirty look at him. What's your problem? Feng Sun rubbed his chin. Your mind wandered off just then, didn't it? What were you thinking? Jun Linyuan's face darkened a little. Feng Sun was right. He had indeed been lost in his thoughts, and all that was in his mind was Feng Wu's gentle continence where she lowered her head. The feeling was very new to Jun Linyuan, and he resisted it instinctively. As a cultivator, whose ultimate goal was to reach the pinnacle of martial arts. Jun Lin Yuan didn't like distracting thoughts that could mess up his attention. Feng Wu was one of those distracting thoughts. You're not thinking about Feng Wu, are you? Feng Sun was intrigued. He looked at Jun Lin Yuan with shining eyes. Hey, Boss Jun, do you have a thing for Feng Wu? No. Jun Lin Yuan, who seldom let any emotion show, replied with a dark face. His face was livid as he glared at Feng Sun. Rubbing his nose, Feng Sun was disappointed. Sigh. He had expected Boss Jun to be interested in Feng Wu, but the guy wasn't. Why was it so hard for him to like such a smart and pretty girl? However, when he recalled Feng Wu's lack of cultivation, Feng Sun shook his head. You have a point. Feng Wu has no cultivation at all. How can you like her? I'm imagining things. Poor Feng Wu. Jun Lin Yuan gave him another brooding look. After taking back the cub, Feng Wu stormed off and headed back to her tent. The cub observed Feng Wu with its innocent eyes the entire time. Sensing the anger coming off her, it curled up into a ball and refrained from making any noise. It looked so adorable that it could melt the toughest heart. Chapter 241. Breakthrough Again. Chapter 241. Breakthrough Again. Looking down, Feng Wu saw the cub's big, glistening eyes and a milk bottle around its neck. Holding the bottle with both front paws, it sucked on it while stealing glances at Feng Wu every now and then. Feng Wu was speechless. What on earth is in there? Feng Wu tried to take the bottle. Fearing that its master was going to confiscate its food, the cub sucked hard and finished the last bit in one go, then burped in satisfaction. Feng Wu was speechless. Giving the cub a gentle flick on the forehead with her finger, she said, "You silly thing. How am I going to make the food for you if I don't know what it is? Go get it from Feng Sun yourself, then." The cub immediately handed the bottle to Feng Wu. However, there was nothing left. Feng Wu wanted to cry, but no tears would come. Just then, something clicked in Feng Wu's head, and an unusual sensation filled her dantian. Seriously? Feng Wu was very familiar with that sensation, for she had gone through 6 breakthroughs already. There was no time to think. She picked up her pace and hurried back home. After stuffing the cub into her mother's hands, she went to her own room. Before she went in, Feng Wu told Qiuling, "No one is to enter my room before I come out. Keep that in mind." Feng Wu looked very serious. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Qiuling nodded. "No problem. I'll stay right outside. Call me if you need anything." Feng Wu nodded, then closed the door behind her. Inside, without thinking, Feng Wu sat down with her legs crossed, got rid of all distracting thoughts, then entered a trance. The first thing she did was to inspect her dantian. As expected, the golden liquid was about to spill out. Feng Wu closed her eyes immediately and began to cycle the golden liquid through her meridians. She had no idea what had happened, but this change was great news to her, for she was on a breakthrough again. She was a level 6 spiritual master now, and Feng Wu was certain that she was on her way to becoming a level 7 spiritual master. Time crawled by. The sun set, then rose again. Attentive to her duty, Qiuling stayed outside the door the whole time, keeping a close watch on what was going on inside and not daring to slack off in the slightest. Inside, Feng Wu was soaking wet from all the sweat, and she looked like she had just been fished out of the sea. Her hair and clothes were all dripping, and the floor was wet as well. Her stunning face glistened from all the sweat. Then, her eyes opened slowly. A dazzling light flickered in those limpid, intelligent eyes. Feng Wu let out her breath in a long exhale, and she smiled. She was a level 7 spiritual master now. She had reached this level much faster than she had expected. If she kept making progress at this speed, she would become a spiritual grandmaster by the time they arrived at the Imperial capital, and those people still had no idea that she was cultivating again and would still see her as a cripple. If she revealed herself at some critical moment, how surprised would those people in the Imperial capital be? She was quite looking forward to it. But why had this breakthrough happened so suddenly? Rubbing her chin, Feng Wu was confused. Chapter 242, What did you eat? Chapter 242, What did you eat? She had only just reached level 6 and hadn't accumulated any spiritual essence yet. This was so unexpected. What happened? She then remembered that kiss. All she could recall was that because of her fear of Junlin Yuan's intimidating aura, her mind had gone completely blank when their lips touched. Her adrenaline surged, and she trembled with emotion. After that, she realized she was going to level up again. Was it possible that it had something to do with kissing Junlin Yuan? Feng Wu buried her face in her hands. If that was the case, she didn't know what to think. No, it couldn't have been. There was no way it was like that. Rubbing her head, Feng Wu tried to convince herself. Knock, knock, knock. Hearing the knocking inside the ring, Feng Wu entered it in her spiritual form right away. She was met by Little Phoenix's glare as soon as she was inside. Feng Wu smacked her forehead. She had forgotten all about it. The abnormal flame. The bird had needed that first abnormal flame after the eruption to enable it to get out of this ring, which was why it had prompted Feng Wu to get that flame. Unfortunately, Feng Sun showed up, and the flame ended up going into the dead body of Glory King Tiger before being absorbed by the cubs. Feng Wu had checked when they found the cubs. The flame had split into 2 halves, and the 2 cubs had taken 1 each. Therefore, Feng Wu shrugged at the bird's scowl. The abnormal flame is not an option anymore. Any other suggestions? Kneeling down by her beautiful master, Feng Wu put her crossed arms on the edge of the bed and rested her chin on the back of her hands. She was enthralled by her master's fair, ethereal, and immortal-like countenance. Her master lay there with his eyes closed. He was perfectly proportioned and had a slender build. He never needed to clean himself and always looked otherworldly. There was also this spiritual aura which surrounded him the whole time, reminding her of a thin veil. Little Phoenix also realized that the abnormal flame was now out of the question. Lowering its head, it turned its back on Feng Wu and sulked like a small child. Pulling Little Phoenix into her arms, Feng Wu stroked its feathers. There. Don't be upset. This could be a blessing in disguise. Maybe we'll find some better abnormal flame next time, right? Head drooping, the bird pouted and looked very unhappy. I'll get you the next abnormal flame I come across, I promise. All right? Feng Wu tried her best to cheer the bird up. You promise? Little Phoenix glowered at Feng Wu. Feng Wu nodded. I can smell something strange on you. Little Phoenix flew around Feng Wu and looked confused. But the smell doesn't belong to you. What do you mean? Feng Wu's stomach churned. Sniffing around Feng Wu's slender neck, the bird racked its brain. It couldn't figure it out. Hey, what are you doing? Feng Wu poked Little Phoenix in its head. Tilting its head, the bird thought for a moment, then asked Feng Wu in bewilderment, Who were you with? Feng Wu darted a look at her master involuntarily, then glared at Little Phoenix. Why do you ask? What did you eat? Little Phoenix hit the bullseye. Feng Wu blushed right away. What had she eaten? Instinctively, Junlin Yuan's stunning face came to mind. Chapter 243. Again? Chapter 243. Again? I didn't eat anything. For the first time in her life, Feng Wu stammered. Little Phoenix threw a dirty look at Feng Wu. What on earth did you eat? Why are you being so sneaky about it? Feng Wu glared at Little Phoenix. Who's being sneaky? Where are you getting at? How does it have anything to do with your abnormal flame? It has everything to do with it. Little Phoenix suddenly became very excited. Taking Feng Wu's hand, it said, Haven't you realized? Whatever you ate just then has created a tiny flame in you. What? Has it? Feng Wu hadn't noticed it herself. You haven't noticed it? Little Phoenix glared at Feng Wu. Close your eyes and check your astral space. Can you see a small island there now? And is there a tiny flame on that island like a lighthouse at night? Is there? Feng Wu had no idea where her master had found this bird. Despite its short temper, it was highly perceptive. Following Little Phoenix's instructions, Feng Wu found the flame it was talking about. It was indeed as tiny as the bird said, and the flickering flame looked like it would be blown out by the lightest breeze. How did it get here? Was I born with it? Feng Wu asked involuntarily. Little Phoenix rolled its eyes. You wish. Then how? The flame wasn't there before today. So, try your best to remember anything unusual you did today. Did you eat anything? Or touch anything? Feng Wu hadn't eaten anything today, and the only thing she had touched was Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu's head went blank. Had she somehow drawn that flame out of Jun Linyuan when she gave him CPR? Little Phoenix went on. The owner of that flame is unfathomably powerful. That person is not only inscrutable and aloof, but very proud as well. I tried to communicate with the flame just then, but gave me the cold shoulder. Oomph. Feng Wu was speechless. Little Phoenix cried out in surprise. Wait, this abnormal flame has a lightning quality? Exactly where did you get this flame? We've hit the jackpot. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. Unfathomably powerful, aloof, and proud in personality, and the flame had a lightning quality. All of those pointed to one person only, Jun Linyuan. How? She was trying her best to steer clear of that guy, but why was she only getting more involved? At the same time, Little Phoenix was still talking. I want this abnormal flame. I want it, and it only. Yes, I want it. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. Take it then. It's still too little. Little Phoenix shook its head. I can't consume it yet. I have to wait until it gets bigger. Wait then. Feng Wu found the bird impossible to raise. It asked for too much. That's why you need to help it grow. Little Phoenix looked at Feng Wu in excitement. Feng Wu asked, what do you mean? Eat more of it, just like what you did before. Little Phoenix was exhilarated. It won't grow on its own. This is only a quarter of the flame. So you know what to do. I don't. I really don't. Feng Wu was baffled. What do you mean by eat more of it? And a quarter of what? Tell me everything. Chapter 244, You Fickle Woman, Ah. Chapter 244, You Fickle Woman, Ah. Little Phoenix threw a disdainful look at Feng Wu. It means that you've only taken a quarter of the energy of that abnormal fire. You'll need to repeat it 3 more times to get the rest, and only then will you have a complete abnormal flame. What you have now is a fraction of the abnormal flame at most. Feng Wu. Did that mean that she would have to kiss Jun Linyuan 3 more times? That was never going to happen. What if I refused to do it? Feng Wu meant it. Everyone already thought that she was in love with Jun Linyuan and wouldn't leave the guy alone. She couldn't stay far enough from Jun Linyuan to clear her name, and the bird was asking her to kiss Jun Linyuan voluntarily, and she needed to do it 3 times? She would rather be struck by a thunderbolt right now. Little Phoenix stared at Feng Wu with unblinking eyes. No, no, no. Feng Wu refused outright. Glaring at Feng Wu, Little Phoenix said indignantly, Do you have any idea how worried I'm every time you get your ass kicked? Feng Wu was speechless. And do you know how pissed I'm every time I see you defeated? Feng Wu was speechless. And can you imagine how frustrated I am when I want to fight for you so bad but can't get out of here? Feng Wu was speechless. Did I say anything when that little idiot took my abnormal flame? Feng Wu was speechless. So are you still not going to help me? Little Phoenix accused Feng Wu indignantly. Feng Wu stammered. It's not that I don't want to help you, but what you're asking is really... Little Phoenix flapped its wings angrily. All I'm asking for is a few nibbles, and you're making all kinds of excuses. Do you even want me at all? I'm very angry. Feng Wu felt like crying. A few nibbles? On Jun Linyuan, the guy that could set the sky on fire with his wrath. Taking a deep breath, she tried to explain to the bird. It's not as simple as that. You see, I see. You're not going to help me because it's difficult. That's how little I mean to you. You don't care about me at all. Resting the tips of its wings on its waist, Little Phoenix spat fire from its pretty eyes. Feng Wu said, There's really no need to get all agitated. Growing up with Feng Wu, Little Phoenix used to stand on her shoulder or head and the two of them had enjoyed each other's company a lot. Hence, the bird knew Feng Wu very well. Seeing that its hard tactics weren't working, little Phoenix switched to soft means. Pouting with teary eyes, it made the most pitiful face as it looked into Feng Wu's eyes. "You fickle woman, you've forgotten about me now that you have a new pet." Wah, actually, it was expressing its true feelings. Back then, little Phoenix, Feng Wu, and her beautiful master made a perfect family of three that had no room for a fourth person. However, not only was the bird unable to help Feng Wu in battle now, a little idiot with a milk bottle around its neck had also shown up to take Feng Wu away from the bird. What was worse, that little idiot had taken the bird's abnormal flame. The bird was utterly frustrated just at the thought of it. The more little Phoenix thought about it, the more distraught it became. It burst into tears and looked the most pitiful creature. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead in frustration. She felt so, having gotten used to cajoling her beautiful mother since she was little, she was helpless against the tears of those she cared for. There, don't cry. Look, the feathers on your face are all wet. That's not a pretty sight. You're a big boy now. You shouldn't cry over petty things like this, all right?" Chapter 245, Go Away. Chapter 245, Go Away. Go away. Go away. I don't want to see you anymore. Wah. Sitting there, little Phoenix looked like a human child. Its tears rolled down its cheeks like broken beads, which it kept wiping away with its wings. It was such a heartbreaking thing to see. Feng Wu felt a phantom headache. She wouldn't hesitate to help little Phoenix if it was asking for anything else. No danger would stop her from going out of her way to help it. But the problem now was that, "You just won't help me. You like that little idiot better than me. Go away. Go away. I don't ever want to talk to you again." Hic! Little Phoenix gave a hiccup as it cried. Just then, there was a knock at the door outside. Feng Wu said, "I have to go now." Little Phoenix went on crying. Feng Wu said, "Someone's looking for me outside, and I have to leave you for now. Please don't cry." Little Phoenix was still crying, and it cried even louder. When Feng Wu returned to her physical form, her ears were still buzzing, as if her eardrums had been pierced. Sigh, what should she do with the moody little Phoenix? Was there no other way apart from kissing Jun Lin Yuan repeatedly? Feng Wu opened the door as she rubbed her forehead. Miss Chilling let out a sigh of relief when she saw Feng Wu come out. Xiao Wu, sob. The beautiful lady fought back her tears when she saw Feng Wu's face. "My lady has been worried about you, and she didn't sleep at all last night. Nor did the cub," Chilling explained. Seeing the cub's round head nodding as it dozed off, its eyes half closed, Feng Wu was most amused. The on its forehead was hilarious. Feng Wu flicked its forehead with her slender fingers. "That really makes it look like a knockoff." "Ha!" Everyone laughed, and it felt much more relaxed right away. Seeing the smiling faces, Granny Zhao laughed with the rest of them. She had always loved Miss Wu for her charisma that could cheer everyone up and settle their minds. "Granny Zhao, I'm all sticky and sweaty." Seeing Granny Zhao, Feng Wu took her arm and gently swayed it back and forth. Granny Zhao poked Feng Wu in the forehead in the same way Feng Wu had done to the cub. "Miss Wu, aren't you a little too old to do this? I'll always be a kid when you're around." Feng Wu raised her chin. Granny Zhao smiled wholeheartedly. No other mistress would hold their old maid's arm and talk to them that way. They were too proud to do that, unlike her Miss Wu, who gave them the feeling that she genuinely needed them. However, Granny Zhao still straightened her face and made an effort to tell Feng Wu off. "Miss Wu, young ladies should always maintain a proper posture. You must walk gracefully, show no teeth when you smile, and when you speak." "Gosh," Granny Zhao holding Granny Zhao's arm. Feng Wu said, "I'm really sweaty. Feel it yourself, how sticky my arms are. And if it gets windy, you'll catch a cold easily." "Oh no." Chilling, get the bath ready. That successfully distracted Granny Zhao, and she went to run Feng Wu a bath right away. Chapter 246, Awkward. Chapter 246, Awkward. Given her exquisite lifestyle, the beautiful lady set the standard equally high for Feng Wu. Everything had to be perfect, which meant that taking a bath was a very time-consuming process. Feng Sun had been standing outside the whole time. He hadn't wanted to intrude on the warm atmosphere in Feng Wu's family. Once Feng Wu started her bath, it was even more inappropriate for him to go in. Hence, he had no choice but to go on waiting. He waited until Feng Wu came out of her bath, all clean and refreshed. Feng Sun only knocked on the door when he heard Feng Wu's voice inside. Granny Zhao answered the door. Seeing that it was Feng Sun, she asked, "Young Lord Feng, how may I help you?" Feng Wu knew all along that Feng Sun was outside. However, she had been deliberately keeping her distance from Jun Linyuan and his people after what happened the day before. Hence, she kept Feng Sun waiting on purpose, hoping that he would leave on his own. "Is Xiao Wu here?" Feng Sun asked politely. Inside, Feng Wu rolled her eyes. Couldn't he just cut to the chase? She could only decide if she was at home or not after knowing why he was here. Feng Sun had made a great impression on Granny Zhao, and she warmly invited Feng Sun in right away. "Yes, she's here. Please come in." The bath cleansed Feng Wu of all the sweat and fatigue, and she looked like a new person. Fair-skinned and with features as pretty as a picture, Feng Wu looked even more stunning with a little bit of makeup on. Granny Zhao wished she could show off Feng Wu to the entire world instead of keeping her mistress shut away from everyone. Looking up, Feng Sun was also stunned by Feng Wu's beauty. Enjoying the view, Feng Wu waved a slender index finger in front of his face. Only then did Feng Sun return to himself. "Well, why are you here?" Feng Wu frowned a little. She would never go see Jun Linyuan again after what happened yesterday. No, she wouldn't. What excuse should she give now? While Feng Wu was racking her brain, Feng Sun spoke. He got right to the point. "Xiao Wu, my aunt woke up. Didn't you say yesterday that you were going to examine her today? Why didn't you go see her?" Feng Wu looked baffled. Feng Sun was confused. "Why are you giving me that look? You can't go check on my aunt now?" Feng Wu was speechless. She had assumed all along that Feng Sun was going to take her to Jun Linyuan, but as it turned out, he was here for Mrs. Ning. She had racked her brain to come up with an excuse to turn him down. How awkward. Ahem. Feng Wu cleared her throat. "It's about time. Let's go to Mrs. Ning now." She rose to her feet and left some instructions with Granny Zhao and Xiuling before she left. "Go and pack. We'll set out for the Imperial capital after I get back." Granny Zhao and Xiuling thought it was rather hasty, but since they were used to following Feng Wu's orders, both nodded without any objections. On their way to Mrs. Ning, Feng Wu realized that Feng Sun's head was down, as if he was pondering something. She darted a look at him in bewilderment, but didn't ask him about it. They reached the Ning family's place in no time. Conflicted, Feng Sun waited a while before asking, "Are you leaving for the Imperial capital already?" Feng Wu nodded. "Yup. Why the rush?" Feng Sun puffed out his cheeks. "Didn't you say that Boss Jun needs to rest in bed for 3 days? Why don't you wait until he recovers? We can leave together and we'll be able to look out for one another, right?" Chapter 247. Leave for the Imperial capital together? Chapter 247. Leave for the Imperial capital together. Feng Wu said in her head, it was precisely because Jun Linyuan needed to stay in bed for the next 3 days that she had decided to leave early. That way, she could avoid traveling with him as well as a lot of awkward situations. At that thought, Feng Wu said a silent prayer for little Phoenix. Yin Yin happened to walk in at that moment, and an idea struck her when she heard what Feng Sun said. "Cousin, are you going to the Imperial capital? And you're leaving in 3 days? That's great. I'll go ask my mum so that we can leave together." Yin Yin was over the moon. The greatest opportunity had just fallen into her lap. She could take advantage of that favorable position and get closer to the crown prince. That way, the more she thought about it, the pinker her cheeks became. Feng Wu found Yin Yin incorrigible. She had made up her mind that she would do her best to avoid Feng Sun and the others. Otherwise, she would have so much more to worry about. She went in to examine Mrs. Ning without another word. Feng Sun turned to Yin Yin and stared unblinkingly at the teenage girl, who was immersed in her daydreams. Yin Yin, no! Before Feng Sun could figure out how to reject Yin Yin, Mrs. Yin said it for him. Both Feng Sun and Yin Yin turned to look at Mrs. Yin involuntarily. Mrs. Yin had hollow temples and protruding cheekbones, which gave her a grim and mean look to begin with. With a straight expression on her face, she looked all the more fierce. We're going back to Anyuan province, and we're staying there for a while. We won't be going the same way as Feng Sun. Mothers knew their daughters the best. Mrs. Yin could see through Yin Yin with one glance, and she was greatly upset at Yin Yin's manner of throwing herself at Jun Linyuan. It wasn't simply a matter of self-respect or not. More importantly, Mrs. Yin knew perfectly well that Jun Linyuan didn't have the least bit of affection for Yin Yin. The girl wouldn't even be able to become a maid concubine if she tried. Yin Yin would achieve nothing other than disappointing herself. Hence, before Yin Yin fell too deep into this unrequited love, Mrs. Yin decided that she had to separate Yin Yin from Jun Linyuan. Moreover, Mrs. Yin had always liked Ning Chensi. Not only was the teenager Yin Yan's cousin, the gentle Mrs. Ning would also make a great mother-in-law. Hence, Mrs. Yin had made up her mind to marry Yin Yin into the Ning family. Yin Yin comprehended none of her mother's care and thought for her. Glaring at Mrs. Yin, she said, "Mum, we've only just left Aunt's home. Why are we going back? You could go back on your own." "I'm not going. I'm going back to the Imperial capital with Cousin Sun." Mrs. Yin smirked. "Don't you want to know who poisoned your aunt? An Avenger? We'll go back to the Imperial capital together once we figure that out." After rejecting Yin Yin, Mrs. Yin told Feng Sun, "Don't let her go back to the Imperial capital with you." Feng Sun was very easygoing in nature. He could talk to any superior figure as an equal, and he didn't mind mingling with people from all walks of life either, as long as he liked who he was talking to. He had none of the aloof manner characteristic of men from aristocratic families, nor did he exhibit any sense of superiority or feigned amiability. He was a man with zero consciousness of class. However, he found it simply impossible to like Yin Yin, his naggy cousin. Luckily, Mrs. Yin gave him a way out before he could think of one himself. Feng Sun said earnestly right away, "Aunt, rest assured that Yin Yin will be going with you. Plus, I'm going back to the Imperial capital with His Royal Highness. It's common knowledge that Boss Jun hates traveling with strangers, especially strange young women." Yin Yin was utterly baffled. She looked like she had just been struck by a thunderbolt. Chapter 248. How did it go? Chapter 248. How did it go? Boss Jun hated traveling with strangers. Was Feng Wu not a stranger to Boss Jun? Was she not a strange young woman, above all else? Was Feng Wu not a young woman, indignant and resentful? Yin Yin was driven mad by her fury and jealousy. Just then, Feng Wu finished examining Mrs. Ning and came out, looking very composed. Feng Sun went up to her in a hurry. "How did it go? How's my aunt doing? Is she all right?" Feng Wu replied in a calm voice as she cleaned her hands with some honey locust seeds. "Most of the poison inside Mrs. Ning has been neutralized. What's left can just be treated with some herbal medicine." After that, she gestured with her eyes at the table, upon which lay a prescription she had just written. Mrs. Yin looked at Feng Wu, who was cleaning her hands, and the look in her piercing eyes turned indecipherable. She had had a very bad first impression on Feng Wu. After that, she found fault in everything the girl did and said the meanest things to the latter. Not only didn't the girl talk back, she also saved so many people. Compared with Feng Wu, Mrs. Yin found herself rather. She smiled bitterly inside, then turned to Feng Wu with a solemn look on her face. "Thank you very much, Miss Feng. After you get back to the Imperial capital, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to come to the Yin Mansion. We'll do our best to help you." After that, Mrs. Yin handed Feng Wu a small wooden plate. It was the size of her palm, and carved on one side was an eagle which had a grim and piercing look in its eyes. Feng Sun's eyes lit up at the sight of it. He immediately took the plate and stuffed it in Feng Wu's hands. "This is great. Just take it." Yin Yin was furious. Snatching the wooden plate out of Feng Wu's hand, she snapped, "Of course this is great. This is the Yin family's collecting card of the Chamber of Commerce. This card alone has an overdraft limit of 100,000 taels of silver. Even I don't have one. Why should you?" Mrs. Yin was so angry that she almost smacked Yin Yin on the head. Was this girl merely stupid, or was she not concerned with her mother's health at all? Mrs. Yin had given Feng Wu that card to thank the latter for saving Mrs. Ning's life, as well as to pay her in advance for her being saved later. Feng Wu had pointed out Mrs. Yan's health problems the first time they met, but back then, Mrs. Yin found Feng Wu despicable. Not only wouldn't she believe anything Feng Wu said, she had humiliated the girl for it. However, Feng Wu had proven her unparalleled medical skills over and over again after that, and as a result, Mrs. Yin had been dreaming every night of dying of some terminal disease. That was why her attitude toward Feng Wu had changed drastically. Mrs. Yin stared at Yin Yin. The girl had been there the whole time. Did she not care about her mother at all? The more Mrs. Yin thought about it, the more bitterly disappointed she was. After they left the courtyard, Feng Sun looked at Feng Wu, swallowing back the words on the tip of his tongue. Feng Wu didn't press. She only waved at him with a smile. "We'll be setting out today. See you in the Imperial capital." However, Feng Wu only took a few steps before Feng Sun called out behind her, "Xiao Wu." Feng Wu turned around involuntarily. Feng Sun went on after some hesitation. "Since you've finished examining my aunt, how about taking a look at Boss June now?" Feng Sun thought that he had seen through Feng Wu. He had taken her for a two-faced girl who, despite her eagerness to get close to Boss June, wouldn't do it because of her pride. Feng Wu declined instinctively. She had known something like this was going to happen. June Linyuan was the last person on Earth she wanted to get close to, and she waved her hands before she knew it. "Your boss June is totally fine. His ability to recover is better than anyone's." 3 days in bed, and he'll be as good as new. I don't need to see him. That you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.